The sounds of a terrible battle resounded in the forest. Two groups of fearless warriors fought each other to the death. Each side suffered very terrible losses. No one took prisoners. Everyone was killed on the battlefield. The site of the battle was literally strewn with chopped and mangled corpses of warriors. Two brothers fighting on the same side. The older one is Qin Yao. He is mortally wounded. The younger brother encourages Qin Yao as best he can and keeps him from passing out.
He tries to give him some medicine to ease his older brother's suffering in some way.
Qin Yao is completely exhausted. He has been injured very badly. Qin Yao faints without taking his younger brother's medicine. His hand no longer clutched tightly to his sword. Little brother is crying hard. He doesn't want to believe it. But it seems that Qin Yao has passed away from the wound. The enemy attacks from the back and tries to kill the younger brother right next to Qin Yao. At the last moment, the Dwarzian clan warrior puts up a defense against the blow. He wants to send him to hell as soon as possible. That bastard from the Immortal Clan has a very strong kick. The defenses are crumbling. The enemy is so strong that he can't be contained. And the plan was not to die today. The shield shattered to pieces. Suddenly he heard Qin Yao's voice. The air was cleaved by the blade of a sword. The shield is broken, but he's still alive and intact. He looked at this warrior from the Immortal Clan. Qin Yao had inflicted a very deep wound on his arm with a single sword thrust. He was so relieved that his older brother was not dead, only unconscious. Qin Yao said that little brother is talking nonsense. He doesn't intend to die so early at all, although he scared him a lot. Demon reinforcements are on their way. A Immortal Clan warrior hears two Dwarzian clan warriors talking to each other. It seems that whoever had injured him had just used the demonic path technique. He remembers that this technique causes a severe wound to the heart, and starts coughing up his own blood. Zhao Yang, one of the founders of the Immortal Clan, had in no way expected to die at the hands of a hypocrite like him. He feels his last breath approaching. Death is simply unavoidable. Zhao Yang becomes hysterical and starts yelling at his enemy and wishing him a quick death. Qin Yao sees the mortally wounded Zhao Yang sneaking up on his younger brother from behind. He quickly grabbed his younger brother by the scruff of the neck. He doesn't know what's going on at all. Qin Yao shoved his younger brother as far away from the injured Zhao Yang as possible. He realized that the enemy had made himself a live bomb. He realizes there's going to be a big explosion, but he didn't get away in time. There was a terrible explosion. The younger brother screams and calls out for Qin Yao, the capital of the fairy kingdom. There are two parts of yin and yang in the world. Immortals and demons are divided according to the same principle. Immortals take healthy qi energy from heaven and earth, and nurture the yang. Demons' nature is not to work, they want everything at once. But they are bound together by an unbreakable bond, demons and immortals alike. For demons, the end always justifies the means. The Immortal Clan indiscriminately siphoned power from people and killed everyone. It's been going on for centuries. Immortals must take responsibility to protect the common people. Because humanity is on the brink of annihilation, immortals must do justice to the heavens and destroy all demons. Fury overwhelmed Qin Yao. He sees a girl being held by the throat by a demon. She yells for Qin Yao to run away as soon as possible. The demon is happy to have another victim. In that case, you can get rid of the girl. You don't need her anymore. The demon squeezes her throat and kills her. Little Qin Yao is screaming a lot. His mom has been killed, and then he wakes up. He's breathing really hard. Turns out it was a nightmare. He begins to look around. The area is unfamiliar to him. He realizes with horror what kind of lair he has fallen into. Examines the faces of monsters and demons. Everyone here are all members of the Immortal Clan, their commanders-in-chief. Qin Yao realizes to his horror that he is in the headquarters of the Immortal Clan. We have to get out of here as soon as possible. He discovers that he is completely undressed, and who has dressed all his wounds. He's wearing a lot of bandages. His clothes were probably burned by the blast. At least he's got pants. Qin Yao begins to realize that the members of the Immortal Clan mistook him for one of their own. That's why they haven't killed him yet. Looking around, he sees some sort of dome of purple energy. Under this dome are the warriors of the Dwarzian clan. They're actively planning something, perhaps an escape. Qin Yao is interested in a certain girl. He doesn't know who she is, but she is wearing the clan's clothes. He knows that all the leaders of the Immortals have been captured. Someone touches his shoulder from behind. A beautiful girl calms him down. The fake immortal gate was thrown back. Qin Yao was just behind the case with a blast. Xylin was the head of the medical unit. She was the one who gave him the first aid. Qin Yao regained consciousness very quickly. Xylin said that she would assist the others and then approach Qin Yao. The power of immortals is divided into 5 categories. They can gauge strength by breathing. There are a lot of prisoners under the dome, and Xylin's breath is much stronger than Qin Yao's. Zong Yao is relatively whole. If there are forces, then we need to find a way to destroy this place. He turns to Xiaolin. Basically, nothing bad should happen. She calms Zong Yao down. No one is able to break the magic cage. Everyone here has only basic skills. The chest at the top of the dome splits. The magical cage that held the captured warriors of the Dwarzian clan is collapsing. They are ready to attack the Immortal Clan warriors. They pounced on the wounded, and the order was given to take no prisoners. Kill them all. The most capable demon apprentice first. Xiaolin shouts to Zong Yao to save himself. She fights back as best she can, and thinks she's protecting a wounded man. Zong Yao catches himself thinking that now is the perfect moment to stab Xiaolin in the back and kill her. He doesn't want to kill her. She saved him. And now she's protecting him with her life. What's he thinking? She's a demon. That's why she needs to be destroyed. She killed so many of Zong Yao's comrades. At the last moment, he throws himself at her, knocking her to the ground, and takes his clanmate out of harm's way. Xiaolin is very surprised, and for that, he gets shot in the arm. He doesn't want to be in her debt. His clanmate is very surprised. After all, demons don't practice Qi and don't save people. He starts to attack Zong Yao, unaware that he is his comrade. Zong Yao tries to fight back with Xiaolin's dagger, but the terrible pain from his wounds makes him drop that dagger. He didn't think he would die today at the hands of his fellow planner. Out of nowhere, a bright flash appeared. The sword strike was blocked by a tobacco pipe. Zong Yao survived unharmed. An ominous voice was heard. Someone dared to attack his student. He seemed to have lost all fear of death. Everyone heard and recognized that voice and heavy breathing. It's Master Jiden. Master Jiden ripped out the heart of fellow Zong Yao in one move. It's dangerous to keep them alive. Master Jiden thinks it's better to kill the enemy on the spot. It's a lot less hassle. So he releases his bottle of water demons. He orders them to attack the enemy. No mercy. The Dwarzian clan warriors are attacked by water demons and start gnawing on everyone. Their aquatic bodies turn into a corrosive acid and literally dissolve the flesh of the enemy down to the bone. Unimaginable screams are heard. The warriors of the Dwarzian clan are turning to mush. They're nothing but knuckles. One of them begs Master Jiden to finish him off as quickly as possible and give him a merciful death. The pain is hellish and unbearable. This poison was made by Master Jiden himself, specially made to prolong the agony of the enemy. He wants the enemy to suffer as long as possible. Zong Yao had seen with his own eyes how his brothers of the Dwarzian clan turned into white bones. It was almost impossible for them to escape. Master Jiden has no pity or mercy. He deliberately subjected all of Zong Yao's brothers to such a terrible torture. The master noticed that something was wrong. In the last instant, he noticed a metallic gleam in the air. Sharp blades stabbed in and struck all the dying and suffering warriors of the Dwarzian clan. Xiaolin killed them instantly, so they wouldn't suffer. Master Jiden reprimands her harshly. She is as soft-hearted as her mentor. Sooner or later, such kindness to the enemy will come back to haunt her. She bowed to the master and said that she remembered everything he taught her perfectly. Zong Yao realizes that she did it out of mercy. Master Jiden turned to Zong Yao. He had just noticed that Zong Yao had revealed his death spirit, but that couldn't make him angry. Master Jiden begins to suspect that Zong Yao may belong to the warriors of the Dwarzian clan. Zong Yao is gripped by fear and panic. Could it be that he's been exposed? He's definitely finished now. We must try to escape. Xiaolin stepped in on his behalf just in time. She explained to Master Jiden. Zong Yao simply can't be an enemy. He saved her from death. Zong Yao is not a fool. He is well aware that Master Jiden is testing him. He needs an intelligent explanation. And he's making up a legend as he goes along. His family was killed by Dwarzian clan warriors. He hates every last one of them. He wishes they hadn't died at his hands. Master Jiden looked at Zong Yao with surprise and disapproval. But then he laughed. He really liked Zong Yao's answer. He was very happy that he hadn't misjudged the guy. Xiaolin was very surprised herself. Normally, in behavior, he is so quiet, and today was some kind of special day. Something must have happened. Master Jiden explained to Zong Yao that Xiaolin was his granddaughter. He wouldn't be able to suspect the guy. After all, he saved her. In gratitude, the master gives him an elixir. Zong Yao accepts it respectfully from Master Jiden's hands. Master Jiden wanted to know the name of the guy who saved his granddaughter, and what unit he was in. Zong Yao realized that the tricky questions were being deliberately asked now. He has no idea what their rank system and unit classifications are. He's never researched it. At the last second, Zong Yao caught himself thinking. He remembered the insignia of his defeated enemy. Master Jiden looked at Zong Yao suspiciously. Thoth clutched the elixir he had received from the master with confidence in his hands. The kid smiled slyly and introduced himself properly. His name is Zong Yao. He works under the patronage of Centurion Zhao Yang. Xingxiang Central Pavilion. The doors open and a young guy stands on the threshold. At the foot of the stairs, inside the pavilion, a half-dressed man sits half-dressed and drinks alcohol. He asks the guy who comes in why he's here. Once again, he tells everyone to leave him alone. He prefers to drink alone. The boy falls to his knees and turns to his teacher. He says Zong's older brother is dead. Mentor lets go of the jug of liquor. The main crossing of the Imperial Demon Clan. A huge ship docked at the wharf. Zong Yao stepped off the ship and was simply amazed at the sight of the demonic world. It was his first time here. A plaque with golden-colored letters was visible. Imperial Demon Clan. His own held the wharf firmly and securely. A large, massive bridge crossed the abyss. The palace was so high up on the mountain that it seemed to reach up to the sky, and in the abyss itself you could see tongues of flame, and a giant gnarled rock in the shape of a bony hand. Master Jidan's orders. All the wounded must be temporarily sent to the medical hall. As soon as they regain consciousness, they are to return to their positions. Xylin calms Zong Yao down. She tells him to follow her later. She will find him a place to stay. He thanks her for that. She reminds him that he saved her life and all these pleasantries are unnecessary, and she punches him lightly in the shoulder, in a friendly way. Zong Yao really likes this attitude. The house is near the medical hall. Xylin tells Zong Yao that he will stay in this house temporarily. He will surely get better, and she will live next door to him. The view from the window is of course beautiful. It looks out over the mountains. Xylin says there is a medical room downstairs where they send all the wounded. Zong Yao thanked Xylin. It was very unexpected and nice that they took care of him. He didn't expect to get his own room. For a moment he looked out of his window, and I saw a depressing picture. A lot of wounded. There were shouts of orderlies and healers. Some were shouting for healing ointment for bleeding, others for ginseng. Some were making medicine on the fly. Work was in full swing. Xylin opened the closet door and started pulling out her uniform. She was very sad that there had been continuous wars over the last few years. All the wounded are being sent to this hall of medicine. There's never been a shortage of men in medicine. Special ginseng is especially lacking. Xylin holds the neatly folded form in her hands and looks at it sadly in silence. She tells Zong Yao that he should wear this uniform. Zong Yao inquired what kind of medicine is meat bone ginseng. Xylin explained that this ginseng allows you to build muscle and bone. It is as necessary as air for all the wounded. The girl ran to the open window of the house and called out to Xylin. Master Jidan is calling her. Xylin said that there was a book of medicinal herbs in Zong Yao's room. It has a picture of a description of flesh bone ginseng. If he's interested, he can study it. But she's being summoned and has to go now. He closes the doors of the room quietly. Finally, he can recover. And he picks up a bottle of pills. Master Jidan turned out to be quite generous. He offered a 4th-grade pill box. It couldn't have been better at this stage of laying the foundations. Zong Yao sat down in the lotus posture and began to meditate. He needed to heal and recover as quickly as possible. After the first few minutes, he felt the healing flames begin to repair all of his wounds. At this rate, he would be cured in a little over a week. He's bound to find a way out of here as soon as he's well enough. Everyone's busy with the wounded, so the palace's defenses are down. After 5 days, Zong Yao was completely fine. 18 pills were more than enough. He sits in the chair and reads about meat bone ginseng. Zong Yao heard footsteps as if someone was approaching the house. He heard a voice he didn't recognize. Someone was calling for Xylin. A young boy brought his friend his favorite red bean flatbreads. Zong Yao poked his head out of the door and said that if he was looking for Xilin's sister, she had already left long ago. The guy was very surprised to see Zong Yao, but maybe it's a temporary shelter for the victim. The guy said hello to Zong Yao and introduced himself with the name Bai Li Feng, and then the uniform that Zong Yao was wearing caught his eye. He realizes that Bai Li Feng came for a reason, just at the groundwork stage, and one must be very polite. He introduced himself to Bai Li Feng as Junior Zong Yao. Bai Li Feng abruptly told Zong Yao to take off. He looked at Zong Yao fiercely and told him to strip completely. Otherwise, he would kill him on the spot. Zong Yao started to make excuses. After all, he hadn't done anything wrong. Why should he strip down and be naked? There is no reason at all. He certainly realizes that he's below Bai Li Feng's rank. But you shouldn't ask for something like that. Bai Li Feng then told him that he would die. He'd been warned. Zong Yao managed to put up a force shield at the last moment. But it was shattered by Bai Li Feng's punch, and Zong Yao flew far away. Bai Li Feng was surprised by this technique. How would a junior in rank know the shield spell? Only immortals were supposed to use it. Zong Yao realized that the matter had taken a very bad turn. Zong Yao could barely stay on his feet. He instinctively used his shield. Of course, it was immediately shattered. He hoped that Bai Li Feng couldn't see it. Bai Li Feng must make sure, whether it was an immortal shield or not. After all, everything happened very quickly. He bared his shoulder, and a tattoo of a fiery tiger stirred on it. She began to slide off Bai Li Feng's body, and that really scared Zong Yao. It was a tattoo of a demonic tiger. Its owner always wore this tiger on his body, and if necessary, the tiger would come to life and attack on command. Bai Li Feng commands the tiger forward to attack. Zong Yao pulls off his uniform top and throws it to Bai Li Feng. Let her take it. He never liked her. The cloak from the uniform gets on the tiger's face and blocks its view. Zong Yao apologizes and says it's time for him to leave. And then he felt something fast and tight around his leg. The tiger didn't let him escape. He wrapped his tail around Zong Yao's leg, and he quickly fell to the ground. He wrapped his huge mouth around Zong Yao's body and bit through his knife-sharp fangs. Blood splattered in all directions. Bai Li Feng told Zong Yao that he would keep him alive, but not for long. Zong Yao began to inflate like a balloon, slowly increasing in size. Eventually, with his size, he began to break the demonic tiger's jaws. In the end, the demonic tiger's head simply shattered into pieces. Zong Yao jumped to the side. This bastard had better find an equal opponent in terms of strength. The fiery tiger transforms back into a tattoo and is placed back on Bai Li Feng's body. What the technique was, no one knows. He can't believe he set fire to his tiger tattoo. Bai Li Feng had seen it for the first time in his life. Bai Li Feng wryly asks Zong Yao to have him repeat his first trick. That is, showing him the shield spell again. Zong Yao immediately realized that his opponent didn't understand what he had seen. Zong Yao told Bai Li Feng that this was a light shield spell, a secret technique of his ancestors. You have to wait for 10 days to accumulate strength. Bai Li Feng told him to forget about it. He doesn't have time to wait that long, and it could be seen that he didn't care at all. Zong Yao was very excited. It was as if it had slipped through and he was able to escape. Bai Li Feng already knew the reason why he could easily kill Zong Yao. After all, he is a thief and took this uniform without asking. It became clear to Zong Yao that he had to fight to the death. Xylin stopped Bai Li Feng just in time. She didn't realize what was going on. Bai Li Feng told Xylin that Zong Yao had stolen her late brother's clothes. Because of that, he must die. Xylin began to scream. She was the one who gave him the uniform. Because Zong Yao saved her from death. Zong Yao heaved a sigh of relief. He seemed to have been saved from death. All of a sudden, he started cracking up, crying and pretending to be really hurt. Xylin threatened Bai Li Feng. If anything happened to him, he would be on all fours for the rest of his life. Bai Li Feng was shocked by what was happening. He hadn't expected such a turn of events. Zong Yao's room. Xylin and Bai Li Feng carried him over to the bed. He pretended to be unconscious. Zong Yao began to apologize to Xylin. He didn't know that this form belonged to her late brother. Well, he shouldn't have apologized. Xylin is sick to dispose of her clothes as she sees fit. It's none of the outsider's business. Bai Li Feng started to apologize to Zong Yao. There was a terrible misunderstanding and misunderstanding. What a misunderstanding. If it wasn't for Xylin, Zong Yao would be lying dead at Bai Li Feng's feet. But there was nothing to be done. The apology had to be accepted. Zong Yao holds the vial in his hands and says that he will recover very quickly thanks to the medicine Master Jiden gave him. Suddenly he realized that the vial of medicine was empty. He'd already used all of it. Zong Yao pleaded and began to lament that without this medicine, his new old injuries would turn into a chronic illness. Bai Li Feng remained silent, but sincerely didn't understand where this brash man got some new injuries from. With a heavy heart, he took a bottle of medicine out of his pocket. To make it up to him, Bai Li Feng almost killed Zong Yao, so apologizing must be worth a lot of money. But after taking a closer look at the pills, Zong Yao realized that it was a second-grade medicine, not the vial that Master Jiden had given him earlier. He was sympathetic to this. Zong Yao knows that the clan is short of medicine. They gave him the best they had. Zong Yao started cracking up again and shed tears. Bai Li Feng hastily started looking for another vial of medicine, justifying that he had given the wrong one. And he gave me exactly what I needed. A vial of 4th-grade nutrient pills. Exactly what Zong Yao used before the attack. Zong Yao snatched the entire vial from Bai Li Feng's hands. He said that he would drink it all. Bai Li Feng wanted to interrupt him, because it was all he had. But Zong Yao asked. Bai Li Feng still wanted to give him something. Maybe there would be more gifts. Bai Li Feng started waving his hands rapidly and said that there was nothing else left. Zhang Yao ripped Bai Li Feng a new one. All thanks to Zaylin's presence, he had a lot of nerve. Bai Li Feng wanted to snatch the vial from his hands, but he was shy of Zaylin's presence. And through his tears, he wished his younger brother a speedy recovery. He began to analyze Zhang Yao's fighting style. Obviously, the second spell used more energy. 2 instant attacks using different spells. Bai Li Feng immediately realized that something wasn't right here. He asked straight to the forehead. That account spell that Zhang Yao had used at the beginning of the battle was very similar to the Shield Immortals. Zhang Yao would of course escape much sooner to the Immortal Camp than 10 days would pass. Bai Li Feng continued his soft interrogation. Zhang Yao said that he served under Centurion Zhao Yang, the Battle Demon Department. Somehow very sudden and strange. Bai Li Feng knew Zhao Yang very well, but he couldn't even think that he was Zhang Yao's patron. This was indeed an incredible coincidence. Zhang Yao realized that he had gotten himself into a big mess. He had taken on a burden he couldn't bear. Bai Li Feng's sincere condolences that such a righteous and heroic person like Zhao Yang died on the battlefield. No doubt he had taken very good care of Zhang Yao. Zhang Yao realized that Bai Li Feng knew Zhao Yang very well. If the conversation continued like this, he would be exposed very quickly. He asked Zaylin to get some rest. He was very tired. He should get some sleep. Zaylin wished him a speedy recovery, and there was no need to see him and Bai Li Feng off. Bai Li Feng said that he has a meeting with a friend from the Battle Demon Hall tomorrow. He would tell them to gather to honor Zhao Yang all together. Zhang Yao says that there is no need to worry so much. Bai Li Feng swept his eyes over the fact that Zhang Yao was lucky enough to survive. Surely he must be eager to meet his brothers from the team. Zhang Yao nervously looked at Bai Li Feng and didn't know what to answer. At the last minute, he thanked Bai Li Feng. He would be happy to accept his help. Now he's in a very tight spot. The world is so small. And Zhang Yao doesn't even know how to get out of it now. Zhang Yao quietly looks through the door crack. Bai Li Feng has finally left. He probably said something wrong. Bai Li Feng didn't believe him and targeted him. Is it worth going to the Battle Demon Hall? That's an open question. But sitting back and waiting to die is not a solution. Bai Li Feng said that he would have to go downstairs and get on with his duties. He instructs the demonic acolyte to go to the Battle Demon Hall. He must gather all of Zhao Yang's subordinates. Bai Li Feng knew that Zhao Yang had always been a tyrant and was cruel to all people. He definitely couldn't care. He takes the first step toward the stairs. In front of Bai Li Feng, a giant gate opens to the lower level. He makes sure he's caught, or they are. His servant confirms that the captives will not escape. He'll take care of the rest. Bai Li Feng and her servant walk through the dark corridors of the dungeon, its walls stained with blood. The cell gates open quietly. They're all covered in spell paper and covered in blood spatter. Chained to the cell wall are 2 warriors from the Qin clan. They were captured. Bai Li Feng hated moralists the most in his life. Immortal disciples, among whom there are vile little spies. He needs to know the code word for spies. He asks the prisoners to tell him everything, and then they can avoid suffering. The prisoners called Bai Li Feng a devil's spawn. They said they would never betray their clan. Let him go. For Bai Li Feng, this was a completely expected reaction. He picks up a large needle from the table, takes the prisoner's finger. He smiles very slyly, and says he wonders if the prisoners will make it through the evening, and shoves a huge needle right under the prisoner's fingernail. The nail starts to tear off. The captive screams with all his might, calling Bai Li Feng a bastard. If he has the courage to let him, kill him. Bai Li Feng doesn't want to rush things. First, she sticks all the needles under the nails of the prisoner's hands and feet. He picked up the bloody nail clippers and said he was going to tear off those nails piece by piece. And then on the wounds, he'll sprinkle fine salt and hot oil. But that would only be the beginning of the fun. And he saw the horror in the face of one of the captives. There are over 108 different kinds of torture devices. And this evening, he's going to try them all on these prisoners. He's very interested to know how long they'll last. A terrible scream of torture was heard in the cell. With the very dawn, Zhang Yao walked quickly out of his room. He remembered what Zaylin had said. Old Mo lives in the courtyard next to them. He very carefully begins to look around. Zhang Yao, after spending so many days here, had never seen anyone else. Old Man Mo has a very high cultivation level. That means there might be a lot of treasures in his house. Since Zhang Yao is leaving, he might as well bring some souvenirs to the Immortal Clan. He reaches out and quietly opens the door. To his great amazement, the door is completely unlocked. Maybe there's someone inside. Zhang Yao thought of something. Well, since he's already come here, we should try that option. He swings the door open and pretends to fall in completely by accident. Zong Yao starts to ask loudly if there is anyone in the room, but he heard no answer. Only a draft wafted through the room. He quickly shut the doors. Since there's no one here, then he's very grateful for the work and will feel right at home here. You can take whatever you want and whatever you can carry. He looks around the shelves, but there's absolutely nothing. No valuables. Empty, just like the bottom of a bucket. He searched everywhere, but he finally realized that Old Man Mo had nothing but medical books. That's all he had. And of the artifacts, only a small shovel and a rake that lay on the table. He doesn't even want this piece of junk, but he took it anyway. It's something. Zong Yao looked up and saw the second floor. I wonder what is located there. Upstairs was a golden coffin that was handmade. To Zong Yao, it seemed quite strange. Maybe it wasn't a golden coffin at all, but a real treasure box. Zong Yao began to leisurely open the coffin lid. He looked inside. He was just horrified. There was the body of an old man, and the corpse was almost decomposed. On his chest, the medallion was glistening. But why Old Man Mo was lying in a coffin in his home, Zong Yao didn't know. Zong Yao had heard that people from the Demon Clan could practice purifying decomposition, but it was likely that Old Man Mo wouldn't be able to wake up right now. Well, something caught his attention. The gold jade on the corpse's chest and a storage pouch. This gold jade has the wonderful property of removing toxins from the body. Such a medallion is worth 1,000,000 spirit stones in the auctions. So Zong Yao decides to take it from the coffin. He starts smiling and says that this locket is much more necessary and important to him. Silence is a sign of agreement. Zong Yao is very happy. This outing didn't go to waste for him. He packed a lot of valuable things in his bag, and just as quietly as he walked in the door, he walked out through it. The forest at the foot of the mountains. The fugitive tries his best to escape from his pursuers. There's no way Zong Yao can shake off his tail. He notices a dark silhouette behind him. Literally, at the back of his head are his pursuers breathing down his neck. Someone tried to grab Zong Yao's arm, but he fought back very well. The stalker fell and hit a tree. Zong Yao can't get rid of it. That thing keeps following him and he never gets tired of it. It followed him halfway up the mountain. He discerned a corpse walker with bright green lights in its skull, and a protection spell hung from its forehead. That's a real problem. This walking corpse is very hard to kill. What a shame that Zong Yao was only at the first level of practicing his breathing. Another one attacked him, but only from the back. Hurt Zong Yao's cheek. It was just another walking corpse that Zong Yao didn't expect. Now there are two of them against him. A small, furry black paw touched Xilan's shoulder. The marten-like creature asked the girl where Old Man Mo was now. The creature frightened Xilan a little. Most likely the master had gone into seclusion. Xilan hadn't seen him for many days. She noticed a strange thing. The doors to Master's house are open for some reason. Usually Old Man Mo closes them. Bamboo sticks nailed the dead man's hand to the ground. Zong Yao could barely cope. It was indeed very difficult for him. If there were not 2 but 4 of them, he would be finished. They must have poor territory management. Looking to the side, he noticed something. The grass leaves looked very familiar to him. He had seen it somewhere before. And then I remembered abruptly. This herb is fleshbone ginseng. Lucky find indeed. Zong Yao noticed a flash to his left. Something was approaching him again. Someone jumped out of the bushes, tripped, and hit the ground with their face. It was a little girl. She took a hell of a beating. She was in a lot of pain. After a moment, she came to her senses, and then she was glad that she was finally saved. Although Zong Yao didn't save her. She quickly asked Zong Yao where his permission to enter was. We need to get him out quickly, but he didn't understand what she wanted him to do. An entrance permit is needed to descend the mountain. If not, Zong Yao will be forever chased by walking corpses. But indeed, there is no permit. He reassured the little girl and said that if there were only a couple of them, he was sure to deal with them. But it seems he overestimated his strength. At least 5 walking dead bodies landed in front of him. But that was just the beginning. In a moment, there were more of them. Zong Yao and the baby are just running away from the walking dead. They're coming out of every crevice and chasing them. And he can't deal with too many of them. There are a lot of spiritual herbs cultivated on the grounds of the medicine hall. It's a special guard to prevent theft. These corpses guard the mountain from thieves. The girl can't believe that Zong Yao dared to come down the mountain without permission. It's like he's looking for death. Zong Yao has only been in the demon camp for a few days, and he didn't know that the rules here were like this. Running past a tree, the girl tripped over a root and fell face down hard into the ground. Zong Yao noticed this and saw how the corpses were approaching the girl to tear her to pieces. He realizes it's too late to run. Zong Yao turns around and makes a movement towards the girl. Zhang Yao's ghostly shadow began to cover her. An exchange with a ghostly shadow takes place. Zhang Yao immediately appears in her place. Literally at the last moment, he pulls the girl out from under the walking dead, close to death. He does the same moment with the ghostly shadow, but now he backs away. He tosses the girl toward the shadows, and meanwhile, he himself fights off the walking dead, and yells at her as hard as she can to run and save herself. The walking dead try to tear the ghostly shadow to pieces, but the replacement happens again, and Zhang Yao takes her place. The girl notices that Zhang Yao has switched places with his double. It's just a small trick, but it's really valuable for the victory. The walking dead notice this stratagem and turn their attention away from the ghostly shadow. The ghostly shadow began to recover. This is a great chance for them to escape as soon as possible. Even if Zhang Yao's doppelganger is damaged, he can regenerate. The girl asks him why he doesn't attack them. Shadow can only be used for movement, not combat. It's a skillful deception maneuver, and a good way to hide from walking corpses. But it was not to be. Cat hooks flew towards Zhang Yao and stabbed into his leg and back. They don't let him escape. Turns out the walking dead can use guns, and they're not as stupid as they seemed at first. Zhang Yao can't use the ghost shadow. It keeps being destroyed. He can't move as long as it is in a destroyed state. A shoe showed in front of their faces. It was the foremost of the walking corpses, their leader, armed with 2 axes. He swung around to chop off 2 heads with 1 blow, but something blocked the path of the axe blade, and then knocked the weapon out of the walking dead ringleader's hands and tossed him aside. The same thing happened to the simple walking dead. They were knocked down and scattered around. Zhang Yao took a closer look. It was a bright red-colored silk ribbon. It originated from the top of the tree, and just on a high branch sat a beautiful girl who was manipulating the ribbon. The girl immediately guessed that these two were in trouble. A wide silk ribbon encircled the little girl's waist and abruptly lifted her upwards. Zhang Yao didn't even have time to grab her leg or arm. The little girl got excited. It turns out that this beautiful girl is her older sister. The girl asks her little sister why she snuck up the mountain again. The little girl stretches out her arms to the girl and says that she really missed her sis. She started pulling the little girl's nose, because that's not telling the truth. No one would believe that lie. The girl is smiling beautifully. She radiates such a nice soft energy. Zhang Yao was amazed by her beauty. She was like a goddess descending from heaven. He politely asked this girl to get her permit. They're being chased by the walking dead, who want to tear them to pieces. And if this keeps up, he just can't take it. The older sister asks her little sister suspiciously, "Who is that guy and where is he from?" Zhang Yao proudly introduced himself. He was eager to show off, but immediately got punched in the jaw by a walking corpse. The girl doesn't know what to say. She silently watches as Zhang Yao fights off the guards of the dead men. The little girl started to ask her big sister to show her permission and save Zhang Yao's life. After all, he didn't leave her to die. The older sister asks Zhang Yao where his resolution is with disbelief. Is he going down or up the mountain? Doesn't he know the rules of medicine? Zhang Yao punches the walking corpse in the face, and in parallel tells his older sister that he came to the medicine hall a few days ago to depart from his injuries. Big sister understood. It turns out that Zhang Yao is a patient of the medicine hall. The walking dead are getting bigger and bigger. Zhang Yao really asks the girl to show her permission. But here's the thing. She doesn't have that permit either. The little one's mouth dropped open in surprise, and Zhang Yao's jaw just sagged, all the way to the ground. That means he's a dead man. She started acting like a clown. Zhang Yao is having such a hard time dealing with the walking dead. Does he need the help of a fragile little girl? Zhang Yao is on the cusp of death, fighting off corpses of walkers, keeps her upbringing and calm, and keeps asking for her help. The girl says that for this favor, Zhang Yao only has to give her his pouch. Zhang Yao was just stunned by such insolence. He wants to ride on someone else's coattails to paradise. Zhang Yao has turned on the fool. He says he might have misheard. Such a pretty girl. Why do you need some bags? But the girl's no slouch. She has the grip of a real shark. Zhang Yao wasn't wrong. He got it right. If he pays, he'll be rescued. It's fair. The price is fair. Why bother without benefits? Zhang Yao tells the girl that she can't just take his storage pouch away like that. She cut him off abruptly and made a face. Let her be glad she was so generous. If it had been anyone else in her place, she would have just let the walking dead kill him, and then take that pouch off the corpse. The little one stood up for Zhang Yao. Isn't asking for a whole bag too much? After all, he had saved little sister's life. But eldest said that once they got the bag, they would split everything equally. Junior turned out to be just as ruthless a shark as Senior. She began to convince Zong Yao that the price of saving her life was really worth it. Life is the only one. It's bad luck for Zong Yao to fall for those cheeky ogres. He can hear what they're whispering about. The demon clan, it's a bunch of evil ghouls. He was left in such a horrible situation. The little girl warns Zong Yao of impending danger. That's when the walking dead man attacks and pins Zong Yao to the ground. He barely fights him off, but others come running up. And he realizes that now he's going to be finished. He's going to be torn to pieces. At the last minute, he agrees to the girl's demands. He's willing to give up the bag, just to save his life. The girl's happy, and says the deal is done. And he's quick to get up his sleeve, and pulls out a badge, and shows it to the walking dead. Now they have to step back. All the walking dead froze. Zong Yao is simply shocked. He still underestimates the demonic nature of the people of this clan. Profit above all else. The ships arrive at the palace one by one. At the foot of the mountain is a large marketplace, where commerce is booming. Zong Yao is surprised by what he sees. The city is so lively. You can't tell there's a war going on. This is the market of the Hall of Medicine. If you follow the mountain road, you can easily reach the hall itself. Zong Yao was ripped off by 2 giraffe women. It was better not to meet them at all again. He realized that it was impossible to just walk down the mountain. Now he had to think about what to do next. Zaylin saw Zong Yao in the market square and approached him. She asked him what he was doing here. She has just come down from the mountain and finished all her chores. She realizes that her brother was bored and decided to take a walk. Zong Yao wanted to gather some herbs, but he happened to be in the market square. Zaylin had warned him that the mountains around the hall were not the same as everywhere else, and he shouldn't go there for herbs without a special pass token. There are guards everywhere. It was only a pity she had not told him about it sooner. He thanked her profusely for her care and advice. Zaylin suggested that Zong Yao go home together. It's already getting dark. The market will close soon. He should return as soon as possible so that he wouldn't be suspected of stealing. He can't go down the mountain again. He's in trouble again. He has to go back with Zaylin. Zong Yao is thinking about how he can best deal with Bai Li Feng. She only noticed that Zong Yao was injured again, but he didn't want to tell her about it. It's a very long story. The 2 sisters were sitting at a table in the corner of the inn. The little one realized what she was holding in her hands. She's pretty sure she's seen all this stuff in a storage bag before. It looks very familiar. Petty got really angry. She really didn't know that this guy was unusual. She should have grabbed onto him with a dead grip. The older one sighs and says they'll find him eventually. There's no need to worry. After all, he can't go down the mountain, and he can't escape either. Big sister had a good idea. They began to whisper slyly. Malavka agreed with her. That's exactly what they will do. 2 people are climbing up the mountain stairs. Zong Yao wondered if, in the medicine hall, the surviving brothers and sisters from the Battle Demon Hall. Zaylin doesn't know that. She's only responsible for treatment. All the injured are placed in the houses on the mountain of the medicine hall. Therefore, Zong Yao can check on her own. She saw a flock of disturbed birds. There are a lot of crows today. It's quite unusual. The crows were approaching Old Man Mo's house. One by one, they flew in through the open window. In the room, with the lid open, in a golden coffin, lies the corpse of Old Man Mo. Crows swarmed all over him and started pecking at him. They pecked greedily at the half-decomposed flesh. The corpse's eye sockets suddenly glowed. The lit scented stick that was burning in the pot came to an end, and the column of ashes began to fall apart. The crows began to caw heavily, and something started to bother me. Suddenly, there was a sharp whistling sound, and bloody black feathers flew in the air. Old Man Mo's hand grabbed the crow by the throat, with such force that her neck was broken and her eyes popped out. Zaylin and Zong Yao reached home. Someone is hiding in the bushes and watching them. Zong Yao heard something wrong. He covered Zaylin with his body and prepared to attack. Something inexplicable first hit him in the arm, and then right in the eye. And this something first hit Zong Yao in his eye, and then jumped onto Zaylin's neck. Zaylin asked him if he was okay. Zong Yao was sure it was some kind of wild cat. Weasel started yelling at Zong Yao. He needs to ruin his eyes better. Could a wild cat be as beautiful as her? She started asking Zaylin who this guy was, and why he didn't know her, Huang Xiaoxian. But it was explained to her that Zong Yao had only recently arrived at the medicine hall, so he didn't know much. Zong Yao apologized. He didn't recognize his superiors. It seems to be a Weasel senior. He better be careful. Huang Xiaoxian concluded. If he was from the Battle Demon Hall, he was definitely brainless. She jumped onto Zong Yao's head and started begging him what he was doing here. Could it be that Old Man Mo had taken the pouch away from the mentor again, and Zong Yao had come to beg for it back. Xylin realizes that Huang Xiaoxian is starting to talk unnecessarily. Zong Yao is very interested in this. It turns out that Old Man Mo might have such a predilection. Zong Yao explained to Huang Xiaoxian that he was only here to recover his own strength. There was no need to spread such rumors. Huang Xiaoxian called Zong Yao an insufferable bore and slapped her forehead. Zong Yao said that if the elder wanted to share her knowledge valuable, her ward would really like to know more about it, but only in private, without any outsiders. Huang Xiaoxian laughed hard. This kind of approach amused her and made her very happy. She liked Zong Yao very much. She had already prepared to tell Zong Yao a lot of interesting things. She just can't wait. Huang Xiaoxian doesn't talk nonsense. Someone stole it. She had nothing to do with it. She really doesn't like that half-dead Old Man Mo is rich but steals from others. And all the disciples of the clan must realize who he is. Huang Xiaoxian admitted that she had swiped that precious pill. After all, it was a stupid elixir, and she really wanted to try it. Huang Xiaoxian heard extraneous voices and was distracted. It was Old Man Mo's voice. He's been calling for her. He asked her to sit in his room. He's just short of fur for his coat. Huang Xiaoxian doesn't like this kind of joke. Huang Xiaoxian promises Zong Yao to tell all the horrors about this dead old man next time. Old Man Mo is calling for Xylin and Zong Yao. He wants them to go into his yard. It's kind of strange why the senior master is calling them to his place. Zong Yao starts repeating to himself like a mantra that he knows nothing and has seen nothing. He just came down from the mountain to walk through the market. The two of them walk into Old Man Mo's yard. He sits calmly in a bamboo rocking chair and smokes his pipe. He calmly asks the guy's name. Zong Yao says he's a disciple, and already they had seen each other once before. Xylin and Zong Yao bowed to Old Man Mo as a sign of respect. The old man exhaled smoke and said that he lent Zong Yao his storage pouch jade pendant for exactly half a day. So it's time to give the old man his property back. Zong Yao realized with horror something half-decomposed body in the coffin. That was Old Man Mo. He quickly fell to his knees and began to apologize. He did not recognize the master at first. Zong Yao realized that he was definitely finished now. This time, he had screwed up big time. He just wanted to know what kind of demonic art Old Man Mo was practicing. Xylin didn't understand what was going on here. Old Man Mo told her that it was all small things, but he needs this jade pendant to restore his flesh. With sticky sweat on his face, Zong Yao mumbled and repeated something about the jade pendant and pouch, and then eventually blurted out that it had all been taken away from him. Zong Yao began his story to Old Man Mo. Then he's done. And he says that's what happened. He wanted to borrow it and return it, but he was fooled by the bandits. But he remembers their faces clearly. Zong Yao asks for mercy and a chance to redeem himself. He wants to find Old Man Mo's lost property. Old Man Mo said he treated him very well because he saved Xylin from death, but he won't tolerate any more lies. The old man realizes that the storage pouch and the jade pendant have long ago been sold to Zong Yao. In fact, the guy is just trying to save his own skin. Zong Yao doesn't know what to think of anymore. He just needs to win another chance and an opportunity to escape from the demonic clan. What happened once can't happen twice. Old Man Mo will be able to find his property without Zong Yao, and prepared a fatal blow. Old Man Mo gave Zong Yao a strong punch. Xylin tried to stand up for Zong Yao. Zong Yao's eyes opened wide and his pupils narrowed. The blow came to the body and arms. Xylin just didn't have time to do anything. Zong Yao's body flew off and hit the wall with great speed, and then it fell to the ground and went up in smoke. Xylin started to call out to Zong Yao. His body began to inflate like a balloon. The body exploded, and the kid jumped aside. It was a distraction from Zong Yao. He realized he had to escape immediately. He used the last life-saving tool his master had given him. Zong Yao applies the ghost shadow technique. Old Man Mo says these pathetic tricks won't get him any further. Zong Yao starts the exchange with the shadow. Ghost shadow is damaged by Old Man Mo's attacks in several places. Zong Yao is lightly wounded in the arm, but tries to escape from the house by jumping up high. Old Man Mo was surprised by such a technique, this shadow of illusory movement. The ghostly shadow quickly recovered, and begins to scurry away with its master. Old Man Mo recognizes that this Zong Yao kid is quite interesting, and far from simple. First he has to deal with the ghostly shadow, and he releases two bony snakes from his hands, which begin to tear that shadow to shreds. Using a clever maneuver, Zong Yao escapes into the forest, not far from home. He can't understand why Old Man Mo is attacking the shadow body, but then something flew into the back of Zong Yao's head. The snake strikes him and nails him to a tree. Zong Yao is tied by the body of a bony snake to a tree trunk. Old Man Mo knows that he can't swap places with the shadow when its form is damaged. I wondered how he was able to notice such subtleties so quickly. Old Man Mo asks Zong Yao how he wants to die. Choice of poisoning, asphyxiation, or maybe turn him into a walking dead mountain guardian. Zong Yao started crying like a girl and apologized, but he was sincerely telling the truth. Xylin asked to spare Zong Yao and give him a second chance. Old Man Mo takes out a green pill and says to Zong Yao, if he eats it, he will be granted a second chance. Zong Yao doesn't understand what this is. It's definitely no good. Old Man Mo said it's sweet and sour, very tasty. Zong Yao doesn't believe it. He tries to joke that he has tooth decay. He can't eat sweets at all. Well then, Old Man Mo will give him the pill of death and he will immediately fall to his knees. Zong Yao quickly swallows the pill that the old man gave him. Old Man Mo told Zong Yao to ask him to give him one pill every 3 days. If he forgets, his insides will rot. Although Old Man Mo doesn't give a damn, Zong Yao must retrieve the lost one. Zong Yao thanks Old Man Mo for his mercy. Of course, but he is not going to die. He needs to find an antidote anyway. Xylin thanked Old Man Mo heartily. In the past, the master had always killed instantly, so why he had changed his approach now was a mystery to her. The little girl is screaming. She started yelling and pointing her finger at Zong Yao. The little thief has been found. Zong Yao couldn't believe his eyes. Those two shark sisters found him on their own. What are they doing here? They didn't think they'd find him. You just don't find a guy like that around here. It really is a small world, they said at the same time. It seemed that this search would take many days. They said it again at the same time. And then they started yelling at each other. It's like I'm repeating each other on purpose. Malavka screamed that Grandpa couldn't just let the little thief go. Zong Yao didn't quite understand which grandfather at first, and who the little girl was addressing. Zong Yao's realization turned terrified. Old Man Mo told Zong Yao to shut up immediately. He doesn't have such a goofy grandson like him. Old Man Mo turned to the little girl. Her name was Mo Ji. Does she know this guy? Mo Xie told Old Man Mo that he saved her life on the mountain. But she didn't know he was a real thief. He dared to steal her grandfather's things. He can't be pitied or spared. Zong Yao immediately realized, once Mo Xie returned the items, his life would immediately lose all value. Mo Xie said she found her grandfather's things, but there's a reward for finding it. Old Man Mo began to look at the storage pouch. Well, what about the contents? It's much more important from the pouch itself. Mo Xie said that when she noticed that it was her grandfather's pouch, there was only one roll of tobacco left in it. Zong Yao was astonished at this insolence. After all, he had given this duffel bag to the two shark sisters untouched, along with the locket. Mo Xie started beating Zong Yao with her fists, and accusing him of cheating in front of her grandfather. Even though he saved her life. Old Man Mo turned to the second girl, and called her name Luo Chen. It was very important for him to know what was in the storage bag when they received it. Zong Yao finally recognized the name of this girl he liked so much. Luo Chen replied to Old Man Mo that when they took the storage bag, they didn't look inside. But later, when they looked inside, there was nothing there. Zong Yao realized that he was being unfairly spoken against. He gave them everything along with the storage pouch. Inside was a medallion. Mo Xie kept hitting Zong Yao with her fists, and telling Zong Yao to stop slandering her and Luo Chen. Then it quickly came to Zong Yao's attention. He would still be alive if the item turned out to be lost. Zong Yao confesses and says he sold it. He remembers who he sold it to and how much he sold it for. And he can get it back quickly. Mo Ye herself was stunned with surprise. This kind of trick from Zong Yao, and she had never expected it. Old Man Mo got very angry. He realized that the kid had sold stolen goods, and he dares to cheat him time and time again. He's probably looking for death. Zong Yao seemed to realize that he had signed his own death warrant with his words. He will definitely get it all back, but he's asking for mercy. Mo Ji finally realized that Zong Yao was about to be finished now. She had brought it to this point with her games. Grandfather will crush him on the spot. Luo Chen picked up on it. Mo Ji is right. Zong Yao shouldn't die like this. Xylin began to ask Old Man Mo again to let Zong Yao live. Old Man Mo is not going to kill Zong Yao. There's no hurry. But if not death, then he deserves serious suffering for stealing and lying. Zong Yao dared to dream that he would be left alive. Old Man Mo explained, the value of the jade pendant is almost 2 million spirit stones. Today, Zong Yao would stay in the medicine hall and run all sorts of errands. Once he pays the full amount of the value of the jade pendant, he will be able to return to the Battle Demon Hall. Zong Yao can't believe his ears. How much he would have to work and earn to pay back that much money. Moshe said that this pendant was worth so much money, and the rest of the contents in the bag weren't worth 100 spirit stones. Old Man Mo slyly remarked, "How does Mo Z know how much it's worth? She hasn't seen it." Luochen really likes Old Man Mo's approach. She still has a lot to learn from him. Zaylin started counting. A handyman's salary for a month is a few dozen spirit stones. This means that Zong Yao won't be able to pay his debt until he dies. Old Man Mo warned Zong Yao. If he didn't like this kind of punishment, he could always turn him into a stray corpse. Zong Yao started waving his hands from side to side, and says that the punishment is fair. He is thankful that he was left alive, and kneels before Old Man Mo as a sign of respect. But that's alright. Zong Yao starts muttering to himself the amount owed. The demon clan is simply nightmarish. Luochen, Mo Shi, and Old Man Mo stepped outside the courtyard. Zaylin and Zong Yao were left alone. Luochen said it was very late and she had to leave. Mo Shi also asked to go out with her sister. Old Man Mo told them to wait a little longer, and ordered them both to return the jade pendant. They played dumb and said they had no idea where he might be. Mo Shi started to get hysterical. Zong Yao admitted that he had sold it. How could they have it? Old Man Mo left a spiritual mark on this pendant, and he can track the location of the pendant very easily. If they both don't confess now, things will be much worse for them. Old Man Mo is a man of his word. Luochen and Mo Xi looked at each other and realized that they were in serious trouble. There was no turning back now. Luochen took out a pendant from her pocket and handed it to Old Mo. Even though he's old, his mind is still sharp. He's outsmarted everyone again. Mo Jie was very displeased. She handed him a bag of his belongings and called him greedy. Old Man Mo laughed really hard. The girls turned out to be really tricky. Late at night in Zong Yao's room. In the evening, the silhouettes of Zaylin and Zong Yao can be seen in the open window of the room. She diligently bandages his arm wound. She tells him he doesn't need to explain anything. From now on, if he needs anything, he has to ask her. He almost lost his life this afternoon. Zong Yao doesn't dare ask for anything anymore. Zaylin gives him snacks and spirit stones. That should be enough for a while. Zaylin says she still has some things to do today, so Zong Yao should rest. Zong Yao realizes that Zaylin is too kind. She is not at all like a girl from the demonic clan. There is no pursuit of gain in her. She just can't imagine living with people like that around her. They're very similar to each other. Mo Ji, Luo Chen, Old Man Mo, even Bai Li Feng. Zong Yao abruptly remembered Bai Li Feng. That same night at the Demon Palace, the handyman reports to Bai Li Feng. The people he asked to be invited from the Battle Demon Hall? He already knows everything. Bai Li Feng knows they'll show up tomorrow. Medical room. There are a lot of wounded people who are undergoing intensive treatment. Zong Yao walks around and looks around. Zaylin was telling the truth. The hall is simply overflowing with injured people. Looks like the damage to the demon clan was great. The immortals had done their best. Zong Yao is called out and told not to waste his time. But there are no more empty seats. Zong Yao realized that someone was addressing him. Chang Yun wants to offer him a futon. Unfortunately, he doesn't have anything else. Zong Yao thanked him. Looks like there are some good people in the demon clan. Surprisingly. Well, it turns out that Chang Hyun wants a spirit stone for that pillow. Zong Yao told Sang Hen to sit on his own futon. He'll be fine on the ground. There were no spirit stones, but they started haggling over bean flatbread. If he didn't need the information, he wouldn't give anything. The two of them started chatting sweetly while eating flatbreads. Zong Yao began to gather information. Sang Hen is a helper in the prayer hall. Zong Yao from the Battle Demon Hall, at least that's how he introduced himself to Chang Hen. Zong Yao is looking for his brothers from the Battle Demon Hall, here in the medical hall. And he hopes that Sang Hen will be able to help him with that. Zhang Hian himself turned out to be no slouch. Information about people is worth 2 spirit stones. The next day, in the chambers of the demonic palace, Bai Li Feng's underlings said that he was only able to find 2 people who knew Zhao Yang. The rest of them were dead. This time, the teams involved in the battle suffered very heavy losses. Bai Li Feng asked their names. The first one introduced himself as Yang Jian. The second introduced himself as Gao Wei. Bai Li Feng showed the reward that awaited them if they helped him. He had a certain kind of request for them. They were amazed at Bai Li Feng's generosity. Of course, they would try their best to help him with his request. Bai Li Feng asked them if they knew a disciple of Zhao Yang named Zong Yao. Yang Jian is the centurion of the 6th team. He said that he had been in Zhao Yang's company a couple of times, but it was impossible to remember everyone. Gao Wei is the centurion of the 3rd team. But there have been so many new fighters killed in recent years that he can't even remember his face anymore. He honestly admitted that he didn't know who Zong Yao was. Bai Li Fan would hardly be satisfied with such an answer. Gao Wei asked if this person was a friend or relative of Bai Li Feng's family. More time is needed, and they will definitely find out. Bai Li Feng remains calm and silent, quietly sits down on a wooden chair standing near the table. Then he says it doesn't matter, and he takes a cup of tea from the table. Bai Li Feng said that it wasn't a matter of whether they knew him. The most important thing is for Zong Yao to know them. Yang Jian and Gao Wei looked at each other. They sincerely didn't understand what Bai Li Feng wanted from them. Zong Yao is working with a broom and sweeps the yard of dirt and fallen leaves near Old Man Mo's house. Mo Jie and Luo Chen are sitting on the roof, watching and mocking him. He worked so hard to pay off his debt, to which they said he was a thief. Therefore, he deserved his fate. Zong Yao interjects and says that he didn't steal anything, but only borrowed. Bai Li Feng came to Zong Yao, accompanied by Yang Jian and Gao Wei. Moshi and Luo Chen asked Bai Li Feng if he brought food for Xiaolin this time too. But this time he came to see Zong Yao. Bai Li Feng is going to stop by Xiaolin's place on the way. He needs to know where she is now. Bai Li Feng asks the girls to call Xiaolin. After all, it's just about lunchtime. Mo Xie and Luo Chen continue to laugh. They are wondering. Bai Li Feng wants to invite only Xiaolin or everyone present for dinner. Bai Li Feng said that he was inviting absolutely everyone. Mo Xie and Luo Chen tore out of their seats and ran to find Xiaolin as soon as possible. Zong Yao feels that these two who came with Bai Li Feng won't do any good. He needs to get out of here as fast as he can. Zong Yao kindly offers the older brothers a seat. He's here as a handyman. He's going to bring them water and make tea. And with that sauce, he wants to leave them. Bai Li Feng stopped him. He wondered why Zong Yao didn't recognize these two gentlemen from the Battle Demon Hall. Zong Yao turned on the fool. It was as if he didn't know that they were brothers from the Battle Demon Hall. Yang Jian is Zhao Yang's second in command, and Gao Wei is Zong Yao's teammate. Bai Li Feng asks the question with slyness. Doesn't Bai Li Feng recognize any of them? Zong Yao smiles like a fool. He realizes it's a hot mess. It's really bad. Zong Yao referred to a very bad memory. He doesn't remember his team members well. Bai Li Feng looked at Yang Jian. Yang Jian was Zhao Yang's deputy. He also participated in the last battle for the Immortals. Zong Yao didn't recognize them, but he hoped that they didn't take much offense to it. Gao Wei says that it is strange why he doesn't remember Zong Yao, already really on the Battle Demon team. Bai Li Feng finds this very strange. Zong Yao didn't recognize his commander and teammate. There were too many inconsistencies in Bai Li Feng's opinion. Yang Jian and Gao Wei quickly twisted Zong Yao's arms. Bai Li Feng wants to know who Zong Yao really is, why he's pretending to be a disciple of the Imperial Demon Clan. Zong Yao says that he is indeed a member of Zhao Yang's team. Bai Li Fan really dislikes this stubbornness. He reaches out his hand to Zong Yao's bandaged wound. He presses his finger on it properly. This causes Zong Yao to feel indescribable pain. Bai Li Feng asks again. Zong Yao is one of those light immortals too. He really needs to know where he came from and he will be left alive. Zong Yao is silent and gathers his thoughts, and then he starts smirking softly. It's very strange to him that Bai Li Feng is relying on this evidence alone. The evidence is worthless. Bai Li Feng thinks that's enough to prove espionage against the Imperial Demon Clan. Zong Yao notices that Yang Jian and Gao Wei don't recognize him either. For that alone, they can be suspected of espionage. Bai Li Feng thinks these arguments are simply ridiculous. Zhao Yang's deputy has always been Fatty Zheng Katie. That's why he doesn't recognize Yang Jian. Zong Yao doesn't know Gao Wei, but he knows Helu, Feng Jie, Yang Ni very well. Gao Wei confirms that they have such fighters on their team. Zong Yao says that he is a newcomer and was the first time at the battle. It's perfectly normal that he doesn't know everyone. Yang Jian could also be from the Immortal Clan. Bai Li Feng was a little confused by Zong Yao's argument, so he started to apologize to Zong Yao. But he doesn't intend to let it go. He will take Yang Jian to the courtroom for investigation, and then we can definitely have a conversation. Xiaolin watched quietly from the sidelines. She sincerely hopes that Bai Li Feng is satisfied now, and has been able to find out everything for himself. Bai Li Feng has nothing to counter right now. He doesn't have any proof, but he will continue to observe Zong Yao. Zong Yao was extremely nervous. It was a close call. He almost failed. If he hadn't prepared, then he'd definitely be screwed. The Demon Clan's medical room. Zong Yao walked over to Yang Ni. He was, after all, under the patronage of Zhao Yang from the Battle Demon Hall. Yang Ni stretched lazily. He was just recovering from his injury. Zong Yao introduced himself as a student of the medicine hall. A girl who really likes Yang Ni sent him a bag of treats. Yang Ni was very surprised by this, but then it just melted like demon ice cream. He really wanted to know which girl had given him the treat. Zong Yao promised to keep it a secret, because the girl is very shy. So she passed the treat for Yang Li through him. To be honest, he didn't expect that Big Brother was so popular with the girls. Yang Li winked at Zong Yao and said that he could talk about almost anything she was interested in. Zong Yao said that he would be frank with Yang Li. A little boy, Zong Yao, is running through a dark winter forest. Following him, a voice tells him to return to the Imperial Demon Clan. He runs with all his legs and gasps for air. Tears come to his eyes. He trips over a rock hidden under the snow and falls to the ground. A voice behind him laughs and tells him that no one is coming to save him. He'd been warned he'd be exhausted. Even for the short distance, he lacked training. A dark figure, with many skulls and glowing teeth, reached out its black hand to him and told him he could not escape. Zong Yao opened his eyes wide. He shouted loudly, "Mommy, Daddy." He got out of bed and slammed his hand against the wall. One day he would definitely get revenge because of his parents. The water is clear. The shores of the demonic clan's territory are visible. One of the Dwarzian clan warriors emerges from under the water. Slowly he climbs up the coastal cliffs. On the other side of the forest is the border of the Immortal Clan. He must return to the clan as soon as possible and report that the spies have been discovered. Bai Li Feng is standing near the cliff with a bow in his hands. It was a ruse. One of the Dwarzian clan warriors was let go on purpose. Bai Li Feng now understands which way they came. He draws a fiery arrow on the bowstring of his bow, and he takes good aim before he fires the arrow. He's finally releasing it, high into the sky, and she's flying at high speed. Mo Xie asks Bai Li Feng, since there is nothing in the sky, where is he shooting at? Bai Li Feng replies to little sister, "This is a soul-chasing arrow. It will naturally chase the soul." He asks Mo Xie about Zong Yao. He saw them chatting together cheerfully. She must know him well, but they have only seen each other recently. Mo Xie made a good point that Zong Yao and Bai Li Feng have a strained relationship. They don't get along well. Mo Xie said that Zong Yao has a good heart. If he hadn't risked saving Mo Xie on his way down the mountain, she would most likely be dead by now. For Bai Li Feng, this news is unexpected. Only when descending, Zong Yao didn't have a pass token, and in the end, big sister Luo Chen saved them both. Bai Li Feng begins to analyze the information. Mo Xie can help them reconcile if Bai Li Feng wants her to. It's not hard for her. After all, this little guy isn't the last person in the clan. Bai Li Feng asks Mo Xie to give this big box to Zong Yao as a token of reconciliation. He will definitely come to make amends another time. Mo Xie takes the box and runs away. They'll all be waiting for Bai Li Feng for dinner tonight. He says he will definitely be there. Bai Li Feng's servant says that something is wrong with Zong Yao. Otherwise, why would he have come down the mountain the day before yesterday? It makes sense to follow him. Bai Li Feng raised his hand palm up and interrupted his servant's conversation. He scared the snake away. Zong Yao became wary. Sooner or later, he would definitely make his move. The next shot should be fatal for him. Bai Li Feng know that there are only two ways out of the Medicine Hall Mountain. One is to keep an eye on the attendance list. And then, the servant should tell him any news regarding Zong Yao. Just a little longer and his spiritual arrow should hit the target. The time is right. He tells the servant that he knows how to find him, and there is no need to forget the scene. The servant tells his master that everything will be done. A Dwarzian clan warrior is running at full speed down a forest road. Behind him, some kind of light appeared in the sky. The spiritual arrow flies at a terrifying speed. It skirts the trees, leaving a trail of fire behind it, and aiming precisely at the back of a Dwarzian clan warrior. He notices some whistling behind him and sees a flash of fire. The warrior quickly applies a protective shield spell, but the arrow shatters that shield and pierces through the Dwarzian clan warrior like a rag doll. The spiritual arrow pierced through a few more trees before it stopped. The warrior's body fell dead to the ground, face down. A cursed mark appears on the dead body. Zong Yao and Luo Chen prepare the elixir together. She's instructing Zong Yao. You have to press hard to make the ghost grass look like this. He tries to follow the instructions. Zong Yao becomes very curious as to where Luo Chen got this token pass from. Luo Chen explains that such tokens are given by Elder Mo, and only to those who are in the herb gathering group, or to someone who participates in a private hunt on the mountain. Zong Yao was about to drop everything and ask Old Man Mo for a token pass. Luo Chen stops him in time and says that he needs to finish the medicine first. Zong Yao explains to Luo Chen that it's just a small basket of herbs he can manage in just a couple minutes. Luo Chen told him that this basket is her concern, and Zong Yao has to deal with all these bags in front of him. Zong Yao looked at the big mountain. There was a lot of work ahead of him. He needed some kind of break. the territory of the Demon Clan City, the central office and archives of the demonic clan. Zong Yao doesn't even think of joining the herb harvesting team. It won't be easy. Well, he chose a different path. He hands the girl a completed registration form and would like to participate in the mountain hunt. The girl reads the form carefully and realizes that Zong Yao's scouting and tracking skills will be useful. She gives him a special green-colored badge and asks him to go wait in the room. Zong Yao climbs up the stairs and looks for the door he wants. He finds a door with the character he wants and opens it. There are 4 applicants already sitting there, waiting their turn. A young guy with a sharp tooth sticking out of his mouth. A girl with oriental jewelry and a closed face. The guy with the blindfold and the flute. And a man with a monocle, a mustache, and a neat beard. Qin Yao greets everyone and introduces himself as an outstanding disciple of the demonic clan. He is calmly told he is a complete idiot. Everyone in this room right now is his competition for the job. The doors of the room open. A young man with a fancy lizard on his shoulders enters. He's a little surprised at the number of applicants, but he hopes that all 5 of them are worth something. He's about to go over the rules of the test. It'll only take half a stick of incense. We need to track down the last resting place of a lizard with dragonfly wings. The girl with a closed face rightly points out that it is a 4-winged Jadazoan lizard. The guy confirms it. Indeed, this creature is extremely poisonous, so one must be very careful. He asks if everyone present is ready to begin. Everyone is ready to start taking the test. Let's go. The 4-winged canker disappears from the guy's table in an instant, and 3 of the 5 challengers run after him. The only people left in the room are the girl with her face covered and Qin Yao. Politely offers her a cookie, but she refuses. Well, if he refuses, that's okay. He'll get more. He'll eat them himself. The 4-winged canker moves very fast. The 3 hunters can barely keep up with it. Qin Yao's ghostly shadow and the masked girl's spirit insect are also not far behind. The hunters disperse everyone outside so they don't interfere with the search for the lizard. Such a small animal and so fast. It's a real pain in the ass to catch. The blind guy in the blindfold applies his sensory waves. Well, here's the rub. His sensory waves don't work on water. The 4-winged canker saw the masked girl's spirit insect. It looked like a large ladybug. Suddenly she sensed the doom of her ladybug and started crying really hard, sitting on a chair. Her spirit insect, she had raised it for years only to have it devoured in 5 seconds. The 4-winged canker had a good meal. The bug was to his liking. A man with a mustache and a beard found a lizard, but it immediately evaporated from the plant leaf in the blink of an eye. He uses his magic compass to find her, and he runs into some dark alley. Oddly, the compass indicates that a 4-winged Jadazoan should be around here somewhere. He can't figure out where the lizard could have hidden, and it's literally at his back, and she's quick to attack him. The man with the monocle drops dead, because the lizard is poisoned. There's also Qin Yao's ghost shadow, floating in the air and watching the little creeper. Qin Yu rightly remarks that this little creature is so ferocious. A 4-winged canker prepares to jump. The lizard literally rips a chunk out of the ghostly shadow's shoulder, but that one recovers very quickly. This is the first time the lizard has ever seen such a thing. It literally did no harm to its hunter. A 4-winged canker applies the insane rage ability and begins to literally tear Qin Yao's ghostly shadow to pieces, darting from side to side. But Ghost Shadow is slowly recovering again, and now she's all in one piece. The lizard is just so angry. The examiner is pleasantly surprised. He realizes that Qin Yao's doppelganger is following without engaging in a fight, and yet is immune to any attacks at all. Wondering what else he was capable of, he launches something heavy at Qin Yao. This object flies straight at Qin Yao's head, and it almost hits, but Qin Yao holds him back with his hand at the last second. Qin Yao, with an angry face, asks his examiner how he should understand this act. The examiner calmly tells him that he's a real prodigy, and passed the test. In Qin Yao's hands, he finds himself holding a token mountain hunting pass. Night. The chambers of the demonic clan's palace. Bai Li Feng's servant reports to his master. Qin Yao has joined the hunting team and will leave the mountain in exactly 3 days. Bai Li Fan is very happy about this news. Everything happened in the best possible way. It was all prearranged. In the evening, after passing the test, Qin Yao is walking in the garden. He meets Luo Chen. She is just loaded with all sorts of bags and bundles. Luo Chen said with a very dissatisfied look, looking for Qin Yao for a long time. Something must have happened. She puts Qin Yao on notice that they are going out tomorrow to treat the Immortal Clan's prisoners. They need to make good preparations. Qin Yao did not expect his clan's prisoners to be imprisoned here. The next morning, a very large number of people gathered in front of the gate to the dungeon. Zaylin will also be together with them. Luo Chen and Qin Yao will not be alone. Qin Yao examines the enormous gate and the tower that seems to reach all the way to the sky. Bai Li Feng stands in front of the gate and inspects everyone who must pass through the gate. Bai Li Feng looks at Xylin. She's in the front row, after all. She apologizes to him for waiting. Bai Li Feng tells her that it's no big deal. He's just arrived himself. The gates to the dungeon open and Xylin is the first to go in, calling the others to follow. The corridors are very tall and narrow. There is a strip of light from the ceiling. Xylin is giving a briefing. To the selected group, she tells them that they are going with her to treat serious injuries. The rest of us have to go and implement preventive procedures. The two groups of orderlies split up. Bai Li Feng keeps a close eye on the group where Qin Yao is now. He concentrates a small amount of energy in his palm. Then, he touches the sore spot where Qin Yao had a wound. The man quickly flinches in pain. Bai Li Feng apologized to Qin Yao. He didn't want to hurt his old wound. Strangely, it didn't hurt anymore. He pretended to apologize for making an unfounded accusation against Qin Yao, and asked if the younger brother had received his package. Qin Yao said that he's not petty, and he won't take offense. It can happen to anyone, but he really hopes it won't happen again. Bai Li Feng kindly offered his help to Qin Yao in distributing the medicines, but he quickly declined. He realizes it's better to stay away from Bai Li Feng, because he knows he can set him up at any time. Qin Yao, if he stayed alive, he would surely tear that bastard Bai Li Feng apart. He heard some shouting, so he asks Bai Li Feng what it is. Who can scream like that? A conversation is heard in the dark, damp corridor. It is the jailer talking to his prisoner. He abuses her as much as he can. The louder she screams, the more he enjoys it. A young girl from a clan of immortals is chained to a wall and threatens the jailer, who tortures her that she will get him even after her death. The jailer turned out to be one hell of a pervert, and he started tearing at her clothes and underwear. He just wants to rape her. He's got his eye on her too much, so he decides to have some fun with her. But his partner warns him. There are rules in prison that can't be broken. If Bai Li Feng finds out, he'll be in trouble. Shen quickly shut his partner's ugly mouth and hit him with his hair. He just went to the corner like a rag. He started to rise and leaned on someone's arm. Shen's partner realized that Bai Li Feng had entered the cell. He was asked if he was all right. Qin Yao looked at the captive, and she seemed very familiar to him. He recognized her. This is Tang Wanjin, a famous and talented warrior of the Dwarzian clan. It turns out that even she was captured in the last battle. Shen continues to abuse her. She wants to bite off her tongue and die of blood loss, but he won't let her. Qin Yao wanted to just nail this pervert, and then he had a thought. It's not that simple, especially when Bai Li Feng is standing next to him. Qin Yao realized that Bai Li Feng set this up on purpose. He wants to see the reaction and test him for his compassion for the Immortal Clan warriors. Qin Yao knows that Bai Li Feng is a real bastard, and what he's doing now is really mean. He wants Qin Yao to watch his clanmate being tortured, but he can't just stand by and watch. Even if he's suspected, he still has to stop this madness. Bai Li Feng shouted at the jailer to stop this bullying. He began to reprimand Shen Tu's jailer. He has no right to break the prison rules. They are the same for everyone. Shen Tu realized that Bai Li Feng's boss was behind his back, and all his fun came to an end. Qin Yao didn't understand why Bai Li Feng had gotten involved first, and did so without him asking him to. Bai Li Feng told Qin Yao to take care of all the girl's wounds as soon as possible. Shen Tu stepped aside with a dissatisfied face. The girl was chained to the wall and was sitting on the floor in a dirty, damp cell. Qin Yao was very surprised. It seemed to him that Bai Li Feng wanted to see his reaction, but one could see that he was so angry with Shen Tu. It didn't look like he was faking it at all. Shen Tu starts making jokes at Bai Li Feng. Qin Yao is trying to help Tang Wanjin. He asks if she's hurt, but she says not to be touched. He realizes her reaction and begins to stretch his cloak. Qin Yao removes himself his cloak and wraps up Tang Wanjin. Then he slips a vial of potent healing medicine into her hands. Qin Yao tells Bai Li Feng that the girl is fine. He left her a prescription and medicine. She'll be well enough to live on. Bai Li Feng orders him not to leave her any medicine to repair her internal injuries. She has some kind of ability. Shen Tu tries to bribe Bai Li Feng. He puts a spirit stone in his hands as well. Since he wanted to have fun with this wench, contrary to the prison rules, she'll be dead in a couple days anyway. Bai Li Feng clearly said to Shen Tu, he doesn't care at all whether this wench lives or dies. But as long as she is within the walls of this prison, Shen Tu must follow all the rules. Shen Tu didn't like that answer very much. He wanted to settle things peacefully. He saw the other healer girls approaching the cell. Shen Tu smirked evilly. He said that Bai Li Feng had his eye on that girl, and he wanted to have fun with her himself. If Shen Tu knew that, he wouldn't have argued. Xylan doesn't understand what's going on in this cell. Shen Tu starts playing to the public and tries to humiliate Bai Li Feng. Allegedly, he took a captive girl to have fun with her. Bai Li Feng denies it. An awkward silence persists. Qin Yao breaks the silence, and Shen Tu says that people are not to be judged by themselves. Shen Tu was really pissed off by this. He asked him to repeat those words if he had the guts. Qin Yao repeated. Bai Li Feng turned around a pile of miserable shit. That's what stinks. Shen Tu was ready to tear Qin Yao to pieces. He was ready to attack him. But Bai Li Feng immediately stopped him. After all, he's still in prison, and he must obey the rules. Shen Tu is not going to forget anything. He will remember that insolent Qin Yao. Qin Yao continues to croak and bully Shen Tu. Shen Tu openly warns Qin Yao not to meet one-on-one again. Otherwise, he'll be in trouble. Bai Li Feng really liked Qin Yao's behavior. He would like to be friends with him, unless of course he was a spy of the Immortal Clan. Everyone present turns around and walks away from the cell bars along the corridor. Qin Yao looks slyly at Tang Wanjin. She understood nothing, only maintained silence. They gave her a cloak to keep her warm, and secretly left her medicine so she could heal her internal injuries. Pill-making room. Old Man Mo is floating in the sky sitting on a cube. He's trying to light a flame under the sphere. Qin Yao came to the old man's house to bow. Old Man Mo remembers that he gave the antidote to Qin Yao yesterday. It hasn't been 3 days yet. Why he came to see him, he doesn't understand. Qin Yao explains that he is leaving tomorrow with the hunting party, and it will take 3 to 5 days. That's why he asks Old Man Mo for a few pieces of antidote, just in case. The old man agrees and gave him 3 grand. Qin Yao bows to him gratefully. He gets a vial and something else for the vial. Old Man Mo notices that Qin Yao is very poor. He has no money to buy magic artifacts, so he gives him an amulet so that he can protect his body. But it's not a gift. Old Man Mo is only lending this amulet to Qin Yao. Once he comes back from hunting, he has to give it back. Qin Yao happily thanks the old man. It's a pleasant surprise. It turns out that Grandpa is a real do-gooder inside. He curiously asked Old Man Mo what was so special about this cutthroat pumpkin. Old Man Mo suggested that Qin Yao give it a try. Qin Yao was very scared. He thought it was another poison from his grandfather. Nevertheless, Old Man Mo conjured up a small bowl, opened the gourd's throat, and poured some kind of drink into that cup. He decided to test the kid. Old Mo would give him more antidote if he could figure out what was in that little cup. Qin Yao had tasted quite a few jade wine in his life. Old Man Mo said that he would definitely keep his word if Qin Yao guessed what the drink was. Qin Yao says that the taste of the wine is quite strange. It's like it's spoiled. Old Man Mo coughed, and then he started laughing like a madman. That little cup was just urine, and it can't go bad. Qin Yao tried to immediately spit it all out. Old asshole. Tricked him into drinking piss. Now he's just gonna puke. Old Mo rightly pointed out. After all, he wasn't lying. He didn't say there was wine in the cup. He was laughing really hard. This is the urine of the Zhenyuan beast, which can ward off inner demons while practicing qi. This sip is worth 100 spiritual stones. Qin Yao runs around the courtyard shouting that he urgently needs to drink water and rinse his mouth. Old Mo shouts back that it is much cheaper for him to drink urine. Qin Yao quickly found a well and a bucket. He stands by the well and rinses his mouth time after time. Luo Chen saw him from afar. She was looking for him. She had heard that Qin Yao was going hunting in the next few days. He had confirmed it. Luo Chen started to feel worried. The hunting mission is very dangerous, and Qin Yao doesn't have proper training. It's very strange. Luo Chen started to worry about him. That you're not clean here. She gives him 2 Xuan rank talismans. Luo Chen asks to take them just in case. Qin Yao realizes that such talismans are not cheap. Qin Yao directly felt emotional. He didn't expect Luo Chen's sister to be so kind to him. Luo Chen told him not to talk nonsense. He must definitely come back in one piece. Their child will be called Qin Chuan. It seemed to Qin Yao that Luo Chen didn't really want death to separate them. Of course she doesn't want Qin Yao to die. Then who will give her back the 2 talismans? She'll wait, and when he comes back from hunting, he'll pay her interest. Qin Yao was simply taken aback. He had thought that these 2 talismans had been given to him for nothing. Luo Chen gives him these talismans at his own risk. If Qin Yao dies on this hunt, Luo Chen will lose a lot of money. But she knows him well, so she lends them to him. However, if Qin Yao doesn't want to take them, he can give them back to Luo Chen now. It's a disappointment, not a life. Mo Ye asked her big sister. She had also come to give Qin Yao something she needed. They should help each other. Xylan gives Qin Yao some recovery pills and asks them to take them on their mission. Qin Yao gives a heartfelt thank you to Xylin. He realizes how much she has done for him. As soon as he gets a chance, he will thank her for her kindness. Xylin smiles and says that there's no need for all this politeness. Qin Yao leaves for a while. The main thing is to return safely. Mo Jie gives him a bag of storage. Qin Yao was very pleased that he had come to see him off like this. Mo Jie asked Qin Yao, why can she smell some unpleasant strange odor from him? Qin Yao confessed that old man Mo had tricked him into drinking urine. So it must have left some kind of odor. All three girls were just stunned on the spot. But he says it's okay. He's already rinsed his mouth a few times. The girls felt that he smelled like urine and began to quickly run away from him. Qin Yao wanted to say something to them, but he couldn't. This conversation carries over to the next time he returns, after his mission. Night, the demonic clan's imperial palace. Qin Yao sneaked into the storage room to the very same pumpkin urine bottle, and I poured it all the way into a special flask. Since he's on night duty tonight, he can have some of that urine. Who knows? Maybe he could use it. I quickly closed the cap of the flask and activated the shifting ability. Now he found himself on the roof of the imperial palace. So far, he's enjoying the view, and he's not saying anything. He looks at the duffel bag Mosi gave him. Even though these girls have caused him a lot of trouble, he didn't expect them to care so much about his well-being. If they were afraid that he would die on this hunt and not be able to pay them back, there was no point and no need for them to lend him such expensive artifacts. The demon sect is not like the Immortal Clan. Calmness and obedience to the rules reign there. Qin Yao realizes that what his teacher said was not true. They are far from being the worst of the worst. Of course, they are often sly and deceive strangers. But in general, they are very sincere and open people. There is more freedom here. Qin Yao realizes that tomorrow he will already be in the Immortal Clan. But to tell the truth, he doesn't feel like leaving. He sees some girl drowning in blood, and the snickering demon reaches out to him with a hand from which blood drips. Qin Yao slammed his fist sharply on the tiles on the roof of the palace. How could one have feelings for these demonic creatures? He can't forget the death of his family. What about the deaths of his fellow Immortal Clan members? There are countless of them. The people of the demonic sect are only kind to him because they want to take advantage of him. In reality, they don't care about Qin Yao at all. Qin Yao realizes that every day he is just pretending to save his life and escape. He hurt his hand slightly on the shingles. Qin Yao heard a foreign sound. He opens the palace doors and enters. Qin Yao walks into the pill preparation room and sees the weasel Elder Huang. She is in the oven and is being roasted alive. She's begging for help. Qin Yao arrives just in time. Weasel begs to be let out of here. She's burning up. Qin Yao can't open the lid of the furnace, is very hot. She gives him a hint that he should just remove the talisman from the furnace. He grabbed the talisman and removed it from the cover. At the same moment, Weasel Huang jumped out of the furnace like scalded and rolled on the floor in a ball of smoke. Damn it, she fell for old man Mo's trick. There were no pills in the oven, and the sneaky old man had set up a charm to keep the weasel from escaping. And she fell into the trap. If it wasn't for Qin Yao, she would have been roasted alive. Elder Huang remembers that the guy's name is Qin Yao. From now on, she owes him a debt. But she's not used to being in debt for long. Huang Xiaoxian has business to attend to, she has to go urgently. Qin Yao says goodbye to her. The demon clan's training ground. Bai Li Feng exercises her bow and shoots off the blue wolves. He purposely took a large number of targets to perfect his bow skills. He not only trains in marksmanship, but also in agility and body flexibility. Behind him, he felt the growling of a large number of blue wolves. There was actually an entire pack running at him. He fired 2 arrows at a time, and he killed them all, shot them all with an arrow. All the blue wolves are lying on the ground completely dead. Bai Li Feng opened the water flask. It's time to quench your thirst. His servant says that Qin Yao's hunting party will set out this afternoon. Bai Li Feng said Qin Yao's name thoughtfully. He would very much like to be wrong in his assumptions. A large ship departs from the Imperial Harbor. The conditions are announced to all mercenaries. The forest in which they will hunt is on the border of the demonic and immortal clans. Out of the corner of his eye, Qin Yao notices something. They took the captive Tang Wanjin with them. But why would they want her on the hunt? Many mercenaries, like filthy cattle, look at her and lick their lips. Such a beautiful woman and will go as a common bait. It's just not a waste. Qin Yao is just a newcomer. He doesn't know about the live bait. Demonic beasts like to feed on live humans, especially the blood and flesh of cultivators. Everyone's been told to shut up. The captain comes on deck. Qin Yao doesn't know who the captain is on this ship. And then the face of the pervert jailer shows up. Qin Yao just comes to a daze. Shen Tu turns out to be the captain of this ship, and the most important person in this hunt. He couldn't believe that he was seeing Qin Yao with his own eyes. Qin Yao tried to hide his face, but it failed. This is just a happy thing. Shen Tu comes close to Qin Yao. What a small world. And they meet again. And Bailey Feng is no longer around. Damn it, he recognized him after all. Shen Tu wanted to know what the younger brother's name was. The younger brother introduced himself with the name Qin Yao. He is also very happy to meet him. And such a beautiful meeting. The forest on the border of the two clans. The hunters had already set up camp. They've already reached the middle of the forest. It's full of demonic creatures. That's why you have to be on guard at all times. Qin Yao pondered to himself. He can already escape to the Immortal Clan's territory at any time. But he needs to keep Tang Wanjin alive, which is not easy at all. He's thinking hard about how he can save her. The hunter's young apprentice accidentally grazes one of them and drops the cauldron of water on the ground. The hunter starts yelling at the boy. He's blind. He soiled the hunter's shoes. The guy got really scared. He apologized. He said he'd wipe it clean. The kid's being bullied again. Every time they humiliate him, he just smiles. Someone kicked him in the head. The kid hit the ground really hard. He landed right under Qin Yao's feet. The hunters told him not to touch them with his dirty, unwashed hands. And they start kicking him with their feet. They don't understand how such a worm could get on the same team with them. And they said he would buy each hunter a new pair of shoes. But the boy didn't have that much money. If he doesn't buy shoes, then he'll be killed today. Hunter's leg kick was blocked at the last minute. Qin Yao noticed that there had to be mercy. His punch would be enough to break his bones, and this kid was still needed in the hunt. The guy was really scared. He saw that the last blow had never hit him, thanks to Qin Yao. The hunters noticed that the foot strength was good. The newcomer Qin Yao needs to stop meddling, or he will get a kick in the neck. If they touch Qin Yao, they can blame themselves. Next time, in the medicine room, they can give not only medicine, but also poison. The hunters said the kid stained their shoes, and he has to pay for it. They didn't advise Qin Yao to threaten them. Qin Yao saw who started the fight first. Hunter grabbed the poor kid by the scruff of the neck and told him to ask him who started the fight first. The all-dirty trampled kid looks at Qin Yao. Hunter holds him by the scruff of his neck and asks who started the first fight. The kid pleads guilty and says he started the fight and it's all his fault. The hunter laughed hard and told Qin Yao to never meddle in his affairs again. Qin Yao advised the guy if he didn't resist, and no one would respect him. That means no one will come to help him either. The boy swallowed his tears bitterly, because he just chickened out. The hunter told the boy that he now owed him. He would give him the spirit stones later, but for today, he's free. That's what the hunters warned Qin Yao. Helping people like this kid could get you in trouble. People like this loser deserve to be bullied. The boy heard those words, and said that he was not as strong as the other hunters. He has no support, and that's why he's destined to be a loner. Qin Yao told the guy that it was not worth it to endure and shake with fear his whole life. It's not the first time this situation has happened for the kid. Then he started yelling at Qin Yao. He doesn't know anything about his life. Even if a rookie hits him, he won't be harmed. Anyone who offends must know that he will definitely be rebuffed. At least no one will have the desire to bully a madman who is desperately fighting for his life every time. Of course those words moved him. Easier said than done. If Qin Yao were in this guy's shoes, I'd like to see him do all the things he's talking about. And the guy just walks away, remaining silent. Shen Tu looks at all the hunters. Everyone else asks Shen Tu, wasn't the main event supposed to have already started? Everyone is already waiting. Shen Tu said that since everything is in place, they should start. This time they have a real beauty on the lot, and bids start at 100 spirit stones. The auction is now open, and the hunters began to offer each their own price. Qin Yao wanted to know what the bidding was about. What are they bargaining for in giving such large sums of money? They are choosing the order in which they will sleep with this girl. Qin Yao is simply overwhelmed by rage. He clenches his fist. Damn bastards, let them all die. Tang Wanjin can't use her abilities because of the magic chains. Is this really the end for her? Shen Tu is heating up the auction. If you don't have enough spirit stones with you now, you can pay later in the city. The sum of 10,000 spirit stones was heard. Everyone turned around and wanted to look at this crazy man. You could buy 2 beautiful female slaves for that amount of money. Qin Yao offers this amount of spirit stones and takes it away. Shen Tu didn't like it very much. Tang Wanjin saw this guy again, who had given her his prison cloak and wound medicine. Shen Tu started joking wryly, and called Qin Yao a knight on a white horse who scatters riches. Qin Yao said that he could afford it. It's true that he doesn't have this money with him. When they return to the city, he will send it all to Shen Tu's house. The other hunters are really pissed off. They're paying in cash, aren't they? They don't believe that Qin Yao possesses such an amount. Shentu can't understand what Qin Yao is up to. It doesn't matter though. He doesn't care about that at all. Everything is turning out just in time. Shentu was already worried about what he should do to Qin Yao. Shentu publicly started questioning Qin Yao. Why he wants to buy this maiden back for himself. She must be very special. Qin Yao doesn't know how to negotiate with everyone. There's already a lot of dissatisfaction. Shentu offers a very good option. If he takes a hit from everyone here in this camp, it should settle the dispute. A whole horde of hunters are already smiling and kneading their bones on their fists. Qin Yao has one last chance to get away. Qin Yao agreed to the terms. Tang Wanjin looks on in horror, and the kid thinks Qin Yao is a complete idiot. Shentu won't keep his word. Well, the hunters are starting. Qin Yao asked for it. No one forced him. The first blow is right under his breath. He'd been warned to back off. Second punch to the face. He wanted to take the most tidbit for himself alone. But this time he took more than he could live with and swallow. Another punch in the face. That's for all the fun you've ruined. The blows rained down on Qin Yao like hail. No one spared any effort. Tang Wanjin squeezed her eyes shut to avoid seeing this beating. Qin Yao lies beaten like a dog on the ground and in the mud. Shentu says that Qin Yao won't be able to enjoy tonight. After a fight like that, it's no wonder. But he'll still keep the money. Everyone started laughing. The idea was really great. Suddenly, Qin Yao's hand grabbed Shentu's leg. Qin Yao said that he had endured all the blows, so how could he renege on his word? Shentu simply offered a solution, but he didn't say a word about himself. He guessed that Qin Yao did not want to see Tang Wanjin humiliated. But that was exactly what the captain wanted. Shentu will slowly torture her in front of Qin Yao. Qin Yao called Captain Shentu a son of a bitch, and all the hunters and mercenaries started kicking Qin Yao with their feet. They would love to see this show where this wench would be torn to pieces. The kid's watching from the sidelines and thinks to himself, now let the smart guy try to figure it out for himself, like he advised. In this guy's eyes, Qin Yao is an ordinary wastrel. Shentu approached the prisoner and said that he had wanted to have fun with her for a long time. Now they would not be disturbed. Shentu grabbed her throat with his hand. Now he would have his fun with her. Suddenly someone poured urine on the captain's head. Qin Yao decided to cool him down a bit, because from the way he looked at it, Shentu was really hot. All the hunters and mercenaries began to scold Qin Yao. He dared to insult the captain. They threatened to chop him into pieces and feed him to the dogs. Qin Yao calmly replied that Captain Shentu hadn't said anything yet. Therefore, there was no need to hurry. The captain's on the level of laying the groundwork. He probably wouldn't want to get his hands dirty from a scum like Qin Yao. Shentu's eyes turned black with anger, and he made a very strong kick towards Qin Yao. Qin Yao flew away like a bag of trash very far away from the auction site. Shentu told everyone to disperse and to stay out of his way. He'll tear Qin Yao apart with his own hands. No one can stop him. Qin Yao didn't immediately realize that he was attacked by Shentu's hair. This was the first time he had seen such a technique. Hair begins to wrap around Shentu's fist, and they formed a real armor, like a metal glove. All the mercenaries and hunters were silent. They parted and gave the captain the way. Shentu launched an attack on Qin Yao. Qin Yao was amazed by his speed. Captain Shentu's movements were very fast. The power of the dream laying level is truly immense. Qin Yao was lucky that Old Man Mo had given him this protective amulet. Shentu says that even with the amulet, Qin Yao will be a dead man. It still won't save him. He's about to blow the amulet's defenses like eggshells. The amulet's defense under the immense force of Shentu's attack gave a crack. Shentu had already rejoiced, and launched his hair through the crack so that it was like a spear to pierce Qin Yao. But Qin Yao was no slouch either. He left a ghostly shadow in his place. Taking advantage of the moment, Qin Yao jumped out of the amulet's protective barrier. He was able to dodge Shentu's attack and inflict a small wound on him. Qin Yao slowed down his slip. It felt like Shentu had seen this moving technique before. He doesn't give a damn, though. He wouldn't even remember her. Shentu received 3 scratches on his chest. Qin Yao noticed that there was no tattoo on his chest. Judging from the expression on his face, giving up the use of hair was not something Shentu had any intention of doing. Captain Shentu admits that it's a very brave move, but now it has angered him even more. It's going to be a very different fight now. It couldn't be better. Now the opponent was just mad with anger. Qin Yao can no longer wait for this urine to work. He's already stalling for too long. Something huge and terrible could be heard approaching. Even Shentu was frightened by it. A huge demonic beast attacked the camp of mercenaries and hunters. Everyone ran away in fear. One of the hunters started yelling to call the clan for help immediately. But immediately the beast stepped on him with its paw and crushed him like a bug. blood splattered in all directions. A giant bloodthirsty beast as big as a multi-story building has appeared. And it wants to kill Shentu. Shentu couldn't simply believe his eyes. How in this area of the forest could a devil horse have taken up residence? Such a beast was beyond his power. He saw his loyal associates, subordinates, start to run away. Shentu is also very eager to save his own skin. The other half-witted idiots want to team up with Shentu and kill the devil horse monster together. Shentu's hair is quickly whipped around the throat of one of the mercenaries, and Shentu throws him towards the devil horse. Let him at least be useful in his death. It was surprising to find idiots who wanted to join forces. While these assholes are distracting the devil horse, Shentu will try to escape as quickly as possible. He looks back in horror, afraid lest the monster catch up with him. But he could not escape. The devil's horse knocked him down, and then he hit him so hard that Shentu flew aside like a cheap wine cork. Shentu can't understand why this monster devil horse is chasing him. Why can't he get away from it? Tang Wanjin listened to Qin Yao's explanation carefully, but she doesn't understand. If he is from the Immortal Clan, what did he forget in the demonic clan then? It's also strange to her why the demonic horse is only after that bastard Shentu. Qin Yao said that son of a bitch reeks of demon piss a mile away. No wonder the beast is interested in him. Qin Yao unsuccessfully bit his tongue. He began to vomit violently. Tang Wanjin asked what was happening to him. He reassured her and said that everything was fine. Just a bad taste of memories. Qin Yao said that he had 2 security talismans. They can be used. They will help them escape. Tang Wanjin said that it would be too slow. She asks him to let her accumulate 10 breaths, and she will be able to activate the secret technique to leave this horrible place as soon as possible. She sat down in lotus pose and started meditating, with Qin Yao standing beside her and guarding her from all sorts of dangers. All he can hear and see behind the tree trunks is the roaring of the devil horse, and the blows that Shentu is striking at him. The trees cannot withstand and break like matchsticks. The cracking of breaking and falling wooden trunks can be heard. Shentu is seriously injured by the devil horse. His mouth is bleeding. He tries to take cover on a tree branch from this monster. Why that bastard keeps coming after him? He's tried everything. He can't fight, and he can't hide. Plus, his injuries are making him spit up blood. Shentu is not a fool. He realizes that this monster devil horse will finish him off. It's only a matter of time. There's only one way to survive. He summons to unclean forces. He sacrifices his soul to the demon. He asks for all his power. Shentu begins to take on a demonic form. A transformation is underway. It has been a long time since he last released his full power. He removes the barrette from his long hair, which is now completely gray. But for that, he gave up several years of his precious life. Damn that miserable bastard. Now he has the power to fight the devil horse, and he will tear him to pieces. A bright glow appeared. Tang Wanjin turned into an immortal butterfly. She says she'll take Qin Yao's hand and they'll be transported. The important thing is not to let her go. He understands and quickly agrees. The 2 of them began to rise above the ground. And on the ground, the horrible battle between Shentu in demonic form and the terrifying devil horse monster continued. Shentu was striking the devil horse with his hair. Qin Yao prepared to fly upwards together with Tang Wanjin, and then he looked at Shentu's true appearance. With his gray hair and the demon seal on his chest, he remembered everything at once. It's the same demon that came to him in his dreams and killed his parents. Tang Wanjin holds his hand and flies through the air with great speed. She is intensely focused on flying. Qin Yao had finally found the bastard who had been bullying him since his early childhood in his nightmares. They fly past the trees together. Bai Li Feng immediately noticed such an unusual phenomenon, and moving very fast and in this direction, it's very strange. He quickly picks up his bow, yet Bai Li Feng's worst fears were confirmed. Qin Yao flew along with the divine butterfly. A bright light flickers in the valley above the forest. The divine butterfly flies at a staggering speed. Tang Wanjin cheerfully tells Qin Yao that once they fly over this mountain, they will immediately reach the border with the Immortal Clan. Qin Yao doesn't say anything, remaining silent. Bai Li Feng focuses his internal energy and prepare to fire the spiritual arrow. The target is moving at a very high speed. The distance to the borderline is 300 li. The divine butterfly is coming. Bai Li Feng, draw the body of your bow. Divine butterfly is about to be in the line of fire. There's nothing left to do. Tang Wanjin is flying faster and faster. She'll be home soon. Bai Li Feng takes aim and is ready to shoot. Qin Yao makes a difficult decision for himself. He releases the divine butterfly's hand, and thereby saves her life, and starts to fall very fast. Tang Wanjin notices it at the last moment. Bai Li Feng realizes that something didn't go according to plan. The flying object suddenly stopped. It is now neither aiming nor firing. Tang Wanjin quickly descended to the ground and asked Qin Yao why he let go of her hand. She had warned him that it was very dangerous. Qin Yao said that he couldn't go back. She didn't understand him. His words were a shock to her. They were only a stone's throw from the border, soon to be home, in the territory of the Immortal Clan. And he suddenly decided to change his choice. Qin Yao asked Tang Wanjin, when she returned to the clan, let her tell his teacher that his disciple was hungry for revenge and there might not be a better moment in life. Let teacher Lin Yunzi take care of himself. Tang Wanjin couldn't understand. Is it necessary to take risks alone? Why can't she ask the Immortal Clan for help? Qin Yao quickly took a leap and moved away from the divine butterfly. She saw him off with a sad look. She couldn't stop him. Bai Li Feng put his bow back on the table. Very strangely, he turned back. What was going to happen? Bai Li Feng was too hasty. We need to refine the plan. It wasn't perfect. The sight of the battle between Shen Tu and the Devil Horse. Smoke rises above it like smoke after a fire. Qin Yao carefully inspects everything from ambush. He doesn't want to get caught. Finally, the smoke is starting to clear. Shen Tu turned out to be alive, but he's barely breathing. He managed to kill the Devil's Horse, and starts yelling at his servants and demanding a cure. He's already on the verge. I wonder if everyone's dead around here. I'm sure someone's still alive. Qin Yao can't believe his eyes and ears. Shen Tho has defeated the beast, but he is completely out of strength. This is the only chance to finish him off now. But he's shivering as hell. He forcefully stuck a stick in his leg to stop shaking. One of Captain Shen Tu's underlings approached him. Qin Yao realized that this was not the time to attack. He gives the captain rejuvenation pills. They will help heal his wounds. He was very badly hurt after the battle. He was lucky to survive. Qin Yao was angry with himself. The curse was already too late. There was no way to leave. This was the perfect opportunity for revenge, and he had missed it. Out of anger, he begins to gnash his teeth. The servant asks Shen Tu to lean on him. He wants to take him to the medic, as soon as they find him somewhere nearby. As soon as he's feeling better, he'll kill them all. It turns out that the servant has a dagger hidden up his sleeve for Shen Tu. He endeavored to stab the weakened Shen Tu with the dagger at the back of his head, but he reacted in time. It was just on the edge. But the captain is always on the lookout. He was able to see the traitor off. After all, his wounds are not that dangerous and serious. Shen Tu is always pretending to track down disgruntled rats. To be honest, he didn't expect it to be Feng Cheng. He had always considered him a trustworthy servant.
Feng Cheng underestimated Captain Shen Tu. He didn't even swallow the poisoned pills.
Shen Tu doesn't remember him hurting Feng Cheng's family, and he's never left him in the lurch either. Feng Cheng cheats the captain and says that he has sent so many people to the other world that he won't be able to remember, even if he tells everything.
Shen Tu is not much affected by this. He starts to squeeze Feng Cheng's throat with his hair.
But from behind him, a poisonous lizard, the four-winged poisonous lizard, flies up to him. Shen Tu grabbed her with his hand and snapped her neck in a flash. He laughed. This was all Feng Cheng could think of before his miserable death. And then the venom from the four-winged poison beetle starts to spread on Shen Tu's arm. He had forgotten that this stuff, even dead, is very poisonous. You can't take it in your hand. Feng Cheng starts laughing before his death, looking into Shen Tu's eyes. The tourniquet and meridian closure will only increase his suffering. Anyone poisoned by the venom of the four-winged venom beetle will eventually rot alive. And Shen Tu will never get the antidote. Shen Tu admits that Feng Cheng had prepared well enough to kill him. Then, in a fit of rage, she rips his head off with her hair. He recognizes that it's a very unusual poison. Even if the Imperial Dynamic Clan doesn't have an antidote, it absolutely doesn't care. After all, he has connections. Shen Tu noticed that someone was watching him from behind the bushes. He only turned his head and looked back. It was almost instantaneous. Looks like there's still a couple of small bipods left. There's no catching up. Whoever was watching has already made a masterful escape. Qin Yao quickly used his ghostly shadow ability and transported himself. We're out of breath. He's having a really hard time breathing right now. It was truly close. If it wasn't for that servant who numbered to kill Shen Tu, Qin Yao would be lying in the place of the corpse. He didn't expect him to go to such lengths, but he's still in the shadows, so there's still a chance. Qin Yao makes a promise to himself that he will destroy Shen Tu, recalls beautiful moments from his childhood, when his mom and dad were sitting around the table eating dinner, how he first started playing with birds, how daddy painted mommy like a big flower cat, like dad and mom coming home from work together, how my mom embroidered in the evenings and my dad laughed beside her. Now all those memories are splattered with my parents' blood. Qin Yao was distracted from these fearful thoughts by Zaylin. She asked if he was okay. Ever since he came back from the hunt, he hasn't been the same. Qin Yao started making excuses to Zaylin. It was as if he was just getting dust in his eyes. He doesn't sleep well, so there's no need to worry about him. Liar, he has a different view. It's not just insomnia. Something inside twitched Zaylin. Qin Yao asked Zaylin if she was okay. She said that it was just a simple headache. It's nothing to worry about. She wished Qin Yao to take care of himself and rest more. If he needed help with anything, let him go to her and don't be shy. Qin Yao actually had something he wanted to ask Zaylin. Does the demonic clan have special techniques that can increase strength very quickly? He just really doesn't want to be a wuss. You're gonna have a clan competition in a little while. He doesn't want to get in trouble. But Zaylin is a little surprised by his request. She said there are indeed such techniques. Compared to the beaten path of the Immortal Clan's techniques, the demonic clan chooses the extreme path. The cultivation speed is much faster, but there are also many disadvantages of its own. The type of technique Qin Yao is asking about involves a certain price in exchange for a brief burst of strength. This technique is in the building of the hidden path, but they don't have access to that building. Zaylin advised Qin Yao. The best thing he could do was to perfect the techniques he already had. There was no need to risk losing the ability to cultivate strength at all. Qin Yao sighed and said that he understood Big Sister. Qin Yao is already called if he has finished sweeping. He needs to take this box of medicinal herbs and take it to the medicine hall to have the medicine made. He said goodbye to Zaylin. Looks like he should be on his way. Of course he's lying. Revenge and pain has such a bright and flavorful odor. Zaylin tried to concentrate. She's lying too. That cultivation technique Qin Yao was asking about, she had not only encountered it, but also used it. That's right. She doesn't use such a scary approach anymore. Why didn't she let it go to Qin Yao? There is still an unnecessary struggle going on inside Zaylin. It was possible to help Qin Yao and fulfill his wish. Zaylin said to stop. She wouldn't give in to her entreaties. Why so stubborn? Does this kid really care about Zaylin? Not just because he saved her life. It's because he looks so much like her real brother. And that's true too. That's enough. Zaylin tells the purple ghost to shut up. She asks me again to give it to Qin Yao. He will need a trump card in case of emergencies. The purple ghost tells Zaylin because he doesn't want her brother's tragedy to go to Qin Yao and be sure to happen to him again. Zaylin tells the ghost to shut its mouth again. She will never give the purple ghost to anyone. She is destined to die in this world with Zaylin. The open window of Qin Yao's room. He sits on the floor, in lotus position, and is silent. There was no way Qin Yao could calm down. The Immortal Clan's cultivation method is too slow. He needs to gain strength faster. If he keeps piling it up like this, we'll only have to wait for the moment together when the cancer on the mountain whistles. He took a close look at the building. It has very serious defenses, and it is very well guarded. Qin Yao's shadow body can't pass through the outer barrier. Out of frustration, Qin Yao starts beating his fists on the floor. You're a cowardly brat. Revenge requires determination, and he's so afraid of death. He really wants to avenge Shentu for his innocently murdered parents. It's his duty. Qin Yao heard a familiar voice. A serious, huge man sobbing just like a child. Isn't he ashamed of himself? On his doorstep was a weasel. The very one he had rescued from the cauldron. Qin Yao started making excuses that he wasn't crying. It was just dust getting in his eyes. Although she didn't like being sassed by a man. But she owes him a debt of gratitude. He saved her life. She wants to repay him in kind. She asks what his problems are. She can help him through his difficulties. Or avenge him, if necessary. Qin Yao didn't expect the weasel to want to help him. But he realized there was no point in talking. Since Weasel's furnace trap was the limit, his problem needed a greater ability. Weasel became very angry, and told Qin Yao not to dare to look down on her, and no need to look at her temporary weakness. He can't understand that. He's just a simple man. Even the head of the Imperial Demon Clan is regarded with affection. There are no things she can't do. She demands to be told what he needs. She can certainly help him. Qin Yao looked at her with an evil look. He wants to take a life. Will she be able to help him do that? Weasel was very much surprised. And then I realized I was dealing with a mere mortal. Always these disagreements, quarrels on nothing, stupid desire to be together without reason. Qin Yao asked the weasel, is killing a family a trifle to her? He doesn't think so. A very awkward silence persists. They look at each other. Qin Yao did his best to translate the whole joke. Miss Huang shouldn't think anything bad. He doesn't want to kill anyone. There was no more laughter at the weasel. Madame Huang has seen a lot of them in her life. Qin Yao is one of those who take revenge to the last man. She reminds herself that she is indebted to Qin Yao, even if it is necessary to take another person's life. But she is bound by a pact not to harm people from the Imperial Demon Clan. This pact is unbreakable. Nevertheless, Mrs. Huang can be very helpful. Qin Yu doesn't understand how she can help him. More importantly, how. For example, she can help Qin Yao sneak into the secret path building, which is exactly what he needs. Qin Yao can't believe his ears. Could Miss Huang really be able to take him to the building of the hidden path? Of course he can do that. Huang Xiaoshou's word of endearment is unwavering. Huang Xiaoshou asks Qin Yao why he has the Bailey family's tracking mark on his body, but he himself doesn't know what it is. She began to explain. It's a well-known technique used by the Bailey family to track their targets. With this mark, you can sense the movement of the marked person at any time, and once the seal is activated, any member of the Bailey family will be able to shoot their target thousands of miles away. Qin Yao recognizes this for the first time. Now he's had an epiphany. Bailin Feng. Been watching him all this time, he doesn't even know when he was tagged. Huang Xiaoshenyu suggests that when the mark is placed and activated, the target feels a tingling sensation. But Qin Yao's cultivation level is not high enough to notice such a thing. Qin Yao immediately remembered the prison. It was there that Bailin Feng had given him that mark. And then he remembered flying with the divine butterfly. He can't understand why he's still alive. Why Bailin Feng didn't kill him. It's probably because he didn't cross the border. Knowing his character, he needed irrefutable proof. Qin Yao is still alive. This means that Bailin Feng hasn't established his true identity yet. He hasn't uncovered it. Huang Xiaoshou asks Qin Yao again why he is wearing that mark. Is the Bailey family his enemies? But Qin Yao calms the weasel down and says that they just have a big disagreement. Bailin Feng is really good at what he does and set up a tag to keep an eye on the victim and treats the victim well to put her guard down so she relaxes. A real pro. Qin Yu realizes that if he died back then, no one would even understand from what. Huang Xiaoshenyu remarks that Qin Yao looks terrible, but he excuses himself and says that everything is fine. He's just a little scared. She says the marker will disappear on its own in a few days. The energy from her is very weak. Then let this mark disappear on its own. Bailin Feng would then not realize that Qin Yao had discovered his tracking. Huang Xiaoshou winked at Qin Yao. He turns out to be not so dumb. In 3 days, she's taking him to the building. A contract is worth more than money. Night. A bright moon high in the sky. Many dots are flying across the sky. The hidden path building is very well guarded. A lot of Walking Dead guards. And an energy barrier. It's completely impenetrable. Huang Xiaoshou found a loophole and slipped through the barrier. There's a small crack left. Even falling leaves catch fire from contact with the barrier. Security's been beefed up patrolling the perimeter. Huang Xiaoshenyu leaps through the window of the building, and he's getting in. Then it starts to unwind like a vortex. Huang Xiaoshenyu explains to Qin Yao, although the outside of the building is heavily guarded, but the inside is empty. There are no guards at all. It is already safe for them to be here. Qin Yao praises Huang Xiaoshenyu. Her stealth skills are amazing. She smiles and says that it was given to her by nature. Qin Yao covers the Imperial Demon Clan's hidden path building with his gaze. He couldn't believe that he had gotten to the last floor. He was only on the bottom floor of the Immortal Clan. Huge racks of scrolls and manuscripts everywhere. Someone starts following Qin Yao and Huang Xiaoshenyu. The masked stranger recognizes them. Qin Yao picks up a book from the shelf. It has the Blood Sutra of Demon Nutrition written on it. Use the body as. A cocoon forms inside the demon chrysalis. The technique is good, but need to find another way. Qin Yao picks up the scroll. The technique of stitching the demon's body together. Cutting off the great demon's body and transplanting it into a human body. This is the ultimate perversion. He found about 6 techniques. Each book is an excellent technique. Which one to choose? He wished he could take them all with him.
Huang Xiaoshenyu said that he is acting like a small child. All these techniques are real trinkets, but these techniques are not the best.
The upper floor holds high-level techniques and secret documents. There are some real relics among them. Qin Yao agrees with Huang Xiaoshenyu. They should head upstairs. Qin Yao starts looking for the relic. Huang Xiaoshou tells him to just go ahead. In front of them appears a scroll painting in neon moonlight, just hanging in the air. Qin Yao asks the weasel. This painting has some kind of secret or mystery. Huang Xiaoshou replies to him that the real legacy of the Demon Clan is hidden here. There's someone inside this picture, so if the two of them go in, don't be loud. If he's discovered, there's gonna be a very big problem. Huang Xiaoshenyu starts spinning in place and teleporting. And then they break the protective barrier and jump right into this painting. Inside, Qin Yao discovers that the very real labyrinth is located. Huang Xiaoshu sees that Qin Yao is well educated, but not strong enough. He most likely came from a poor family and had limited resources. Today, it would give Qin Yao the opportunity to get closer to the true peak, and they're lowering themselves onto the set. Huang Xiaoshu is explaining to Qin Yao. He needs to rush through that door over there, past that stone statue. Weasel will distract the guards for now. All the top-secret techniques of the Imperial Demon Clan are behind this door. The rest is up to Qin Yao alone. Huang Xiaoshu draws a circle of time on Qin Yao's hand. Before it completely disappears from his palm, he will have to go out of this door, because it will be able to distract the guard for a very short time. Qin Yao tells her that he's memorized everything. Now they can begin. Huang Xiaoshu Mingyu skipped in front of the Stone Guardian, and he starts saying hello to him. It's like they're old acquaintances. The Stone Guardian's eyes opened and glowed with bright red lights. The Guardian turns out to be a stone lion. He warns Huang Xiaoshu not to even dare to challenge him. Stone doors to enter the hall of top-secret techniques of the demonic clan. As soon as Qin Yao opened them and stepped inside, he was immediately submerged. There are fish swimming everywhere. It's a very unusual world, like entering the seafloor. It seems to be in the water, but it can breathe in peace. Qin Yao is looking around and tries to find the secret techniques. Well, he finds nothing but fish, and grabs one of them with his hand. Qin Yao marvels at what he sees. Suddenly, an unusual picture appears before his eyes. He holds a fish in his hands and begins to see glowing hieroglyphics. Now he understood. All these fish are the top-secret techniques of the Demon Clan, and he knew at once what he had to do. He started chasing all the fish he could reach and trying to catch as many as he could. Indeed, each fish contains a different secret technique. The faster the fish swims, the more powerful the secret technique contained within it. But as soon as he catches the second one, the first one in his hand immediately disappears. Looks like he can only take one with him. Of course, this is very upsetting to him. In that case, he knows what to do. He will find the fastest, and therefore the best fish. In a stone maze of a secret room, Huang Xiaoshu rushes and runs away like lightning from the stone tiger, the guardian of the secret door. He tries to distract him with all his strength. The stone tiger is mad as hell. He's threatening to skin her alive. Huang Xiaoshu is not intimidated by this. Let him try to catch her first, if he can. She has speed, agility, and cunning. And then she notices that the wall next to her is starting to crack, and chunks of wall mixed with dust flying in all directions. The stone tiger doesn't want to run the maze anymore. She has made him so angry that he's ready to break the walls. Huang Xiaoshu almost got caught. It was very close. Qin Yao found the fastest fish and hooked his hands into it. It starts spinning and twirling and generating energy. It's very hard to keep it down. She then burns Qin Yao's palms and flips her off altogether. Qin Yao did not expect this turn of events. Fish of the third rank and above were not only the fastest, but they also dealt damage to all those who wanted to catch and take them. He realizes that if he doesn't endure, he won't be able to fully comprehend and learn the secret demonic technique. It's as if he's being tested, whether he's worthy. He looked at the mark Huang Xiaoshu had given him. There wasn't much time left. Qin Yao calms down and begins to meditate. A fish swims up to him from behind. With the help of a ghostly shadow, he tries to catch her. He makes a shift, but the fish is very quick to slip away. Yeah, she's really fast. Heck, even Ghost Shadow can't keep up with her. That's just the limit of her speed. Qin Yao finally catches her, and clutches it very tightly in his hands. It was the fish that had been hiding from the very beginning as soon as he entered the secret room. He was only able to catch it thanks to the Ghost Shadow ability. So this fish has a big secret. Qin Yao starts to figure out what she's carrying. The fish is strange and slippery. What kind of technique does it contain? Gold hieroglyphics are shown. Qin Yao joyfully realizes that this is exactly what he was looking for. Just then, the fish starts twirling very hard. Qin Yao squeezed it so hard that it couldn't even move. He had spent too much energy searching for it and catching it to just let it go. The fish starts emitting some red threads from itself, which envelops Qin Yao's entire body completely from head to toe. He finds himself surrounded by bloody skulls. They tell him that he is an arrogant fool. Does this wretched worm really want to practice such a path? Qin Yao is very much frightened. He doesn't understand if this is real or an illusion. This is the final test, on the way to learning the secret technique. A bloody skull is trying to devour Qin Yao. Qin Yao realizes that this is not an illusion. He feels the skulls begin to devour his soul. The technique he's chosen, it's truly diabolical. It's a concentrate of pure evil. His soul is about to be torn to shreds, and he starts screaming terribly in a fit of pain, but then immediately gathers himself, clenches his teeth, and he realizes it's all a real mess. He can't die here, that's not how he's gonna end up. And with the radiance of his soul, he casts out the devil's skulls. They begin to crumble into small pieces like dried clay. Qin Yao returned to his body. The last test had been passed. It was very close. He didn't realize he was risking his life by learning this technique. Qin Yao is very happy. He finally got his hands on this technique. Stone doors to enter the top-secret technique hall of the demonic clan. Qin Yao got out a little ahead of schedule. He would now hide not far away and wait for Miss Huang Xiaosenyu. The time is almost up. He hears and sees walls breaking and rocks flying in different directions. Such a terrible blow. And someone grabs him by the scruff of the neck. Huang Xiaosenyu explains to him that playing big can sometimes be a mistake. That's why you should leave as soon as possible. The stone tiger shouts after Huang Xiaoshu, "How dare she bring a human here?" and starts growling very loudly. Let her not think that if the stone tiger can't get out of the picture, there's nothing it can do to the two of them. That roar awakened the guards. Someone has invaded the building of the hidden path. The guards are already blocking all the entrances. Huang Xiaosenyu jumps out of the picture, and the two of them tumble across the stone floor. Huang Xiaosenyu was beaten very badly. She got a bad beating from the stone tiger. But she tells Qin Yao that the stone tiger has summoned the guards to get out of here as soon as possible. Before Qin Yao could utter his agreement, a knife blade was near his throat. The masked stranger told them to take him with them. Otherwise, he would kill Qin Yao. Huang Xiaoshu can't believe that she didn't even notice this masked stranger. Huang Xiaosenyu is starting to think very quickly. This person had been hiding here all this time, and she couldn't even notice him. She cheekily asked the stranger, since he managed to get in, let him get out that way. It shouldn't be a problem. If the two idiots hadn't made a fuss, the masked stranger wouldn't have had to think about getting the hell out of here. He presses the knife blade on Qin Yao's throat again, and tells Huang Xiaosenyu to hurry up or she will kill him. Madame Huang really doesn't like being blackmailed. The guards are yelling to seal the building immediately. The enemy cannot be allowed to escape. All the guards that were on the perimeter are already filling the lower floors. Huang Xiaosenyu is well aware that this is not the time for a showdown. She will definitely deal with this cheeky guy, but only after they get out. She agrees, only in exchange for Qin Yao giving up her life. It teleports everyone through a prearranged gap in the building's protective field. They report to the chief of guards the whole building was searched and no one was found. The warden doesn't believe it. There's something fishy going on here. The stone lion wouldn't just raise the alarm. They realize that if nothing is missing from the building itself, it means only one thing: that the thief was after the secrets contained within the painting itself. It's imperative that you report to Madame Shi. She should know what happened. Huang Xiaoshu is flying over the mountains. The masked stranger warns Qin Yao not to do any tricks. After all, the knife blade is at his throat. He could be a dead man in an instant. Huang Xiaosenyu gives Qin Yao a message. We need to wait for her to remove the blade. He will be able to use the ghostly shadow to help Huang Xiaosenyu. She wished she could see her true face. This was how much she had angered Huang Xiaosenyu. Huang Xiaoshu lands in the middle of a forest clearing. As agreed, Huang Xiaoshu has moved everyone. Now she must let Qin Yao go. She moves the knife away from Qin Yao's throat. Huang Xiaosenyu commands that we should attack now, and they pounce on her together. But the masked stranger quickly repels Huang Xiaoshu's attack. She was prepared for this. She notices that this displacement technique is strange under her attack. Qin Yao wouldn't be able to dodge the strike with just a ghostly shadow. With one swipe of her dagger, she cuts the shadow almost in two. The ghostly shadow was beginning to recover quickly. The masked stranger wasn't deterred by this, though. She knew that secret too. But at the last moment, Qin Yao's hand burst out of the ghostly shadow. It was a surprise for her. He used ghost shadow as cover and was zone blind. He needs to rip the stranger's mask off. Qin Yao almost managed to do it, but compared to her, he is very slow. He realized that he had met a serious opponent. This time he wouldn't be able to pull off the same trick with the ghost shadow, so he had to dodge it himself. She nearly blew his head off with a stab, and he accidentally grabbed her breast. The masked stranger was dumbfounded by such insolence. Qin Yao didn't even think of groping her. And then there was a terrible scream throughout the forest clearing. Qin Yao tried to justify to her that he did it completely by accident, but the masked stranger wouldn't listen to him. He dared to grope her. And now she wants to tear him to pieces. Very painful and merciless. At the last moment, Qin Yao pulled himself off the ground. Huang Xiaoshu quickly regained her senses and grabbed him by the scruff of his neck and began to drag him away from the battlefield. We need to leave as soon as possible. The masked stranger was unwilling to let the two of them go. But it was too late. She shouts after them, Don't let them think they can run. She'll find them, and then she'll have them dancing. Meanwhile, in the building of the hidden path, the guards ask Mrs. Shai to tell them the identity of the criminals, so that they can find them as soon as possible. Madame Shi said that Weasel Huangxiao Senyu had returned to make a fool of herself, and in her impatience, she summoned the guards. Nothing was stolen. So everything's fine. The guards breathed a sigh of relief. If there had been a theft, the entire garrison would have gone to zombie fodder. Mrs. Shai looks up at the stone gate and greets her guest. A guest asks why you didn't let them know that an outsider came through the gate. The secret knowledge of the demonic sect was stolen. This is far more important than all the trinkets in the building of the hidden path. A small red flower blooms on the roof of the stone gate. He observes Mrs. Shai and her guest. The flower turns into a red vortex and starts spinning. And then a young boy forms from it. A brunette in red robes who starts laughing wryly. It was such a funny and hilarious situation. No one has done anything like this in over 2 centuries. He remembers the last person who snuck in here. He's been in charge ever since. Last time, a mortal passed the labyrinth test on his own strength. And this little bastard decided to take advantage of the opportunity for affection. That's completely out of line. But don't be so grouchy. You don't have to be so hard on yourself. Talent, origins, character, luck, strengths are all strengths. It's fair to say it doesn't matter by what means, but if you get in, that's skill. And if you get the secret knowledge, that's a chance. This is the kid who deserves to be the heir to the demonic path. The secret technique that Qin Yao stole was very special. Now with this boy, they are now bound to fate itself. Did the little sneak get exactly the same technique he had once practiced? She hit it right on the nose, and 9 reincarnations from God to the devil. Huang Xiaoxiu asks Qin Yao with curiosity about the technique he received. After all, it is the 9 reincarnations from God to devil. Qin Yao confirmed it. She knows Huang Xiaosenu very well, more than well acquainted. The 9 reincarnations from God to devil technique specifically designed to carry out the tempering of essence purification in the blood of divine demons. After tempering and purifying, the practitioner is changed to some extent and can improve his level of force cultivation. In short, Qin Yao gains access to the natural divine demon powers. 9 reincarnations come together for one purpose: to create their own one-of-a-kind demon. Huang Xiaoxiu revealed that only the demon lord was originally a blood carrier of ancient high-born demons, but he had only left behind 3 legacies. He really regrets creating a test that is too tough. No fun. Now we can sit around in agony and sadness. This effect would be very powerful, but it also required a lot of effort. Huang Xiaoxiu said that only a few people were able to achieve this legacy. Few people know this technique, but most likely this is not the fault of the creator, but the lack of talent among the younger generation. Well, finally someone got his legacy, and the creator has high hopes for Qin Yao. Huang Xiaosenu warns Qin Yao. She doesn't know if he's lucky or unlucky, but to master this technique, one would have to go through terrible suffering. There's no other way. Qin Yao asks rhetorically, is it even possible to accomplish anything without suffering and hardship? Huang Xiaoxiu smiled and said that he had the right idea. Qin Yao asks Huang Yaoxiu to leave him in these mountains. There must be a quiet and secluded place here. He wants to start right now. He doesn't have much time. He wants to learn the technique as soon as possible and not be distracted by anything. Huang Xiaoxiu took him to the place he requested. She says this is her hidden cave, and Qin Yao can start practicing here. She has many more places, so don't be shy. Huang Xiaosenyu said that if a guy got 9 reincarnations from God to devil, means that they are connected to fate itself together. She has nothing to do today, so she will stay by his side and keep an eye on him. Qin Yao sits down next to the waterfall on a rock in a lotus pose. This technique is extremely difficult for several reasons. First, the demonic beast to be transformed must have the lineage of an ancient divine demon. Such are very rare. The good news was that a drop of blood had already been prepared for Qin Yao. And secondly, the hardening process is extremely painful. The pain would be unmanly. A drop of blood immediately entered Qin Yao's chest. From the pain and cramping, Qin Yao's face just creased. He feels his heart begin to work differently. This method requires the power of one's own blood. A drop of blood penetrates the bloodstream, forcing the flesh to disintegrate and rebuild itself anew. The infection process has begun. Only when the previous body is destroyed can a new, more dignified one be obtained. DNA strands begin to break down. The changes began on the outside. His face was covered with bloody veins, and one eye turned bright red.
A bloody whirlwind begins to burst out from Qin Yao's chest.
Qin Yao screams in a voice that is simply not human. The suffering is unimaginable. Huang Xiaoxiu yells at him to hold on. You can't abandon what you've started. It's a pain that must be dealt with. There is no other way out. One must be reborn into a higher being. A girl with snake scales on her arms and horns on her head, waiting for someone in a cave. She heard something approaching, and she saw her mistress who came to her cave. That masked stranger who had threatened Qin Yao with a knife. She takes off her mask and gives it to her maid. Her maid was very worried. She asked if the lady had found what she was looking for. The mistress turned out to be Luo Chen, and she hasn't been able to find what she needs yet. The maid asks Luo Chen if she's too weird today. Maybe something bad happened. Luo Chen waves it off and says it's fine. She's actually very annoyed. Her plans have been disrupted. How could this have been allowed to happen in the first place? Luo Chen is madly angry with Qin Yao. As soon as she finishes realizing her goals, she will take him on properly. A hidden cave with a waterfall. You can see the moon through the ceiling. Huang Xiaoxiu asks Qin Yao if he is alive or not. Qin Yao is very thirsty. He looks at his reflection in the water and sees the grin of a skull. He can't believe his eyes. Now he has become a monster. Huang Xiaosenyu starts to laugh. There is no monster. That's what he looks like now. Qin Yao asks why he looks like a ghost. He sees the translucent bones of his heart and the rest of his organs. Huang Xiaoxiu reassures him and tells him not to worry. This is just a physical recovery process. In a little while, he will return to his human form again. Now he's got the essences of a real monster. Only his outer body looks the same as before. Everything else is new and different. Qin Yao was so hot it seemed like there was so much energy in his body that even the water boiled. He's very happy. He got what he needed. It's beautiful weather. The sun is shining clear in the sky and warms everything around with its light and warmth. The Imperial Demon Clan's medical room. Shentu asks if there are any examination results. The healer says they found that his clothes were doused with the urine of the Genyuan beast. This kind of urine scares away Qi training level monsters, but it strongly attracts monsters of the foundation level. Shentu realizes that it's all because of that insolent youngster Qin Yao. Now he must finish him off. Suddenly starts coughing violently and spitting up blood. He needs an antidote. He's rotting alive. The healer says there is no antidote yet. We have to wait a little longer. Puppy 2 is getting really pissed off. He's already waited too long. He doesn't have time to wait. By the time he waits for the antidote, he'll be dead himself. I'm like saying let him go. This is a medical gym, not a place to go on a rampage. Shentu is slowly starting to calm down. The healer explains to him that there is no point in rushing the poison in Shentu's body is special, and there are many antidotes that are very hard to find. Shentu says he needs an antidote in the next couple days. But the healer answers him. The fastest time frame is half a month. He gives him a vial of pills that will slow the spread of the poison through his body. Shentu is losing his strength at a very high rate. He may not live to see the antidote. There's only one way to find the antidote. Shentu walked out of the medical hall. Qin Yao's ghostly shadow is watching him. Shentu walks around the city in circles. Qin Yao is using his ghostly shadow to watch him, but he hasn't figured out where he's going yet. He turned down an alley and walked down the dock toward the boat. I wish I knew who was on that boat. I'd like to get closer. The ghostly shadow has reached the limit of its range. It begins to fade away. Qin Yao fell to his knees. The cultivation technique of cultivating 9 reincarnations in just 3 breaths had completely depleted all of his energy reserves. Even maintaining his shadow body, he can't even maintain his shadow body. At what rate? He wouldn't have enough time to kill Shen-Tu. Qin Yao realizes that he hasn't fully mastered the use of the demonic body yet. More time is needed. He's looking at the skeletons of his dead comrades. As soon as we get this technique down, he's bound to retaliate. Qin Yao walks up the stairs to his house. Mo Shi says she was looking for him. Qin Yao asks why they were looking for him. Uncle Qin Yao is in the courtyard, waiting for him. Qin Yao was alarmed by this, but he didn't let it show. He told Mozi that he would be there soon. In the courtyard sat a man unfamiliar to him and Xylin. Qin Yao can't figure out who he is. Maybe it's Bailey Feng's boyfriend, another spy who wants to gain his trust. This is the first time he's seen this fat man. Qin Yao immediately recognized the gourd pot on the table. In steps, he walked up to this man from the back and started playing the part of his nephew. The fat man began to play along too. They finally saw each other. Uncle was very worried about him. He started hugging his nephew hard. So to speak, he got into character. He is very pleased to see Qin Yao safe and sound. But it is very late for him to go back. Qin Yao wanted to see him off. At last, they are alone near the creek. The fatty started to twirl his head left and right. Qin Yao said not to worry. He put out a shadow body as a guard. Qin Yao wants to know where this man got his Immortal Clan master's throat from. The fatty said that he was a secret agent and was embedded in the demon camp not too long ago. His code word and name is Qin Yao. Qin Yao doesn't understand how Qin Yao knew that this is where he is. Qin Yao replied that Tang Wanjin had described him very well. Therefore, it wasn't hard to find him either. Qin Yao said he was ordered to track down Qin Yao. There is a secret task for him, going undercover for the Emperor's demon sect. And from that moment on, Qin Yao becomes a secret agent of the Immortal Sect. Codename Lone Star. The boat is not far from the rocky shores. Shentu's information is very valuable. He can take what he wants at the same time tomorrow. He will finally get rid of this cursed poison. Shentu disembarked and wandered down a narrow alleyway. The boatman asked his master that the secret medicine this guy wanted cost a lot of money. Why did the master agree to it? No need to worry, he holds up a vial. The water bubbled and then a fountain rose. A four-eyed box popped out of the water and snatched the vial. He says he never runs a business at a loss. It's the foundation of the business. It's starting to rain like a bucket. Qin Yao says that it's time for him to go back. He once again makes sure that Qin Yao understood all the information given to him. There was no need to worry. He hadn't missed a word. Qin Yao hands Qin Yao a whole bag of spirit stones. They're his now. For a secret agent, danger is everywhere, and death awaits him around every corner. I want to believe that Qin Yao realizes that. Qin Yao wished Qin Yao good luck. The next day, in Old Man Mo's backyard, he yells for Qin Yao to take it all to the backyard. Yeah, it's really hard to get along with an old man sometimes. The ghostly shadow notices that the boat has approached the dock again, but with a new destination. Initially, you should gather more information about Shentu. For example, his daily routine. There's a pretty good opportunity right now. The boat is bobbing on the waves. A ghostly shadow floats up to the bottom of the boat. He missed them yesterday. Today we need to learn more secrets. Shentu drinks the antidote. His partner says he's given the cure for the poison. Isn't it time he learned the other half of the information? Shentu thinks there's no need to hurry. It's not like he can run away from them. Shentu is indeed a very careful man. But the poison won't come out all at once. It will take time. Shentu openly says that their sect is no better than the Immortal Sect or the Emperor Demon Sect. This medicine is exactly what he needed. The poison in his body is starting to leave, and Shentu gives the other half of the information to his sidekick. To think, Qin Yao had just found out that this type was selling information. He just now heard something fall into the water, next to the boat. Shadow Ghost has been attacked. His head was pierced with a trident. Qin Yao realized that something had happened to the ghostly shadow. It seems to have been discovered. The helmsman on the boat proved to be very attentive and savvy. Feeder fast out of the water. His master asked him what was wrong. He told his master himself that a surveillance had been set up on them. Shentu didn't like such news. This was all he needed. The master was silent for a little while, and then asked if his assistant had killed the spy. He couldn't do it. As soon as he pierced his head, the spy immediately disappeared. The servant said he'd never seen such a technique before. It was as if some doppelganger was underwater. Shentu immediately realized who it could be. He looked at his partner incredulously, and the partner looked at Shentu with a calm gaze. Shentu didn't like this. He immediately read the distrust in his eyes. He got nervous and asked what was wanted from him. The partner smiled and tried to reassure Shentu. There's no need to be nervous. No one knows where this spy came from. And it's not a fact that he heard their conversation. Well into the TV precaution while they suspend the joint deal. That's why Shentu better pay attention. Shentu was not happy about this turn of events at all. He was very angry with his business partner. He was close to his goal. But he reassured himself that he was still of value to this sect. Shentu wants to find out if this spy was Qin Yao. Though, even if it's not him, he still has a burning desire to take his life. The master and his servant looked, from the boat, at Shentu receding into the distance. The servant suggested we get rid of Shentu. After all, something could go wrong. So the master told the servant not to be afraid. Shentu, in his naivete, thinks he knows everything about you. He poses no threat to them. It's even better for them if he's captured and exposed. The most advantageous thing about the existence of this pariah is that the sworn enemies will always be in the dark and deluded. Quiet good night. The open window to Qin Yao's room. Qin Yao stands leaning against the wall with his sword in his hand. He thinks that since the shadow body was killed by another person, Shentu shouldn't be able to guess that he did it. But for someone as vicious as Shentu, it was highly unlikely that he would delay killing Qin Yao. It's not like him at all. Qin Yao thinks that the fact that Shentu betrayed him could be used to his advantage. The fact that he betrayed his connection was very unexpected. There's no time to waste. We need to become very strong as soon as possible. the central square near the Imperial Palace of the Devil Clan. Bai Li Feng convinces Qin Yao to stay with him, although he can see that he is very, very busy. Bai Li Feng wanted to check with Qin Yao for certain details regarding Shen Tu and his squad's latest hunt. Qin Yao said that a foundation-laying level monster just appeared out of nowhere. He panicked a lot and rushed away to save his life. He said that thanks to the Luo Chen talisman she gave him, he was able to escape. Bai Li Feng puts everything together in his head. So far, everything matches. Bai Li Feng was beginning to waver in her judgment. Maybe Qin Yao really isn't guilty of anything. They're only saying bad things about him for nothing. There should not be such strong monsters in this area. Qin Yao says that it is impossible after all, this monster almost killed him. Their conversation was overheard by Shen Tu. He said that if there was nothing that could strongly attract a foundation-laying level monster, then there really shouldn't be such strong monsters in this area. He was very fortunate to hide around the corner of a building. Shen Tu continued. The girl who was as live bait from the Immortal Sect had somehow miraculously escaped while chaos reigned. A very unpleasant coincidence. He smiled caustically and looked towards Qin Yao. Qin Yao tensed up. Shen Tu guessed that it was all due to the beast urine. If he tells Bai Li Feng how things really are, he might be suspected of making a fuss himself and freeing the prisoner. Bai Li Feng interrogated Shen Tu. What does he mean by that? What was the reason for such a monster to appear in this area? Shen Tu's eyes glittered and had a very unkind look. Qin Yao is already picking up the evidence of Shen Tu's guilt in his head to vindicate himself. Shen Tu says he doesn't know what the reason is. This answer surprised Qin Yao very much. He was expecting to be gutted. Bai Li Feng admonished Shen Tu he talks too much and wastes precious time on nonsense and innuendo. Shen Tu told Bai Li Feng that the prison is looking for him. He urgently needs to go there. Now they have a chance to have a heart-to-heart talk. After all, no one is distracting them now. Qin Yao is sure that they won't have any common topics to talk about. Besides the genuine beast's urine, there are many things that the two of them should discuss. A heart-to-heart talk, as it were. Since Shen Tu knows everything, why hasn't he still pledged Qin Yao in Bai Li Feng's presence? But it won't be fun at all. Besides, Shen Tu knows Qin Yao's secret. Shen Tu holds out a piece of paper with Qin Yao's place on it. They are supposed to meet exactly there, tonight. A very long conversation awaits them. Qin Yao realizes that Ghost Shadow disappeared then, and now it is safest for him to stay in the medicine hall. He pretended that he didn't know any secrets about Shen Tu. Shen Tu patted Qin Yao on the shoulder and put a piece of paper to him about the meeting place. If he doesn't have the desire, he may not come anywhere. But in that case, his uncle wouldn't come back again. Qin Yao understood Shen Tu's hint well. Qin Yao is preparing for the evening meeting. He doesn't know how Shen Tu guessed that the one who was eavesdropping underwater was Qin Yao. He probably suspects Qin Yao, but he hasn't found out enough yet. This is the main reason why he grabbed Qian Yue and forced him to oppose him. The most important thing in this situation is to save Qian Yue. If possible, don't clash with Shen Tu. We'll have to stall for time, even if Qin Yao's identity is revealed. He will definitely need to get his cooperation. They have dirt on each other. But you have to consider the worst-case scenario. Qin Yao went to the shop to buy himself a weapon. The difference between the level of breath training and dream laying was simply huge. In an open battle against Shen Tu, he has no chance of winning. Shen Tu's strength is an intermediate level of grounding. At his level, Qin Yao can only endure no more than 6 breaths at most. Since they'll both be on the same level, we'll have to cheat, and at least even the odds, so that there's a chance to get the win. Qin Yao reached for the beautiful pill, but the saleswoman noticed it in time and quickly grabbed his hand by the wrist. She smiled and said it was a fire and thunder pill. You shouldn't just touch it. If it were to break, the whole store would be leveled to the ground. Qin Yao told the shopkeeper that he would take this sword right here. The master, businesslike and arrogant, replied to Qin Yao that all of this was high level and cost a lot of money. Before the shopkeeper could finish, Qin Yao laid out a whole handful of spirit stones in front of him, and he quickly closed his mouth. Qin Yao left the store. Afterwards, the owner wished him well. He said he would wait for him again. Evening. The sun was setting over the mountain range. Qin Yao walked to the very edge of the cliff. He checked a special box. He sincerely hopes he won't need that flag, his little ruse. In the distance, the silhouette of a man could be seen sitting on a sliver of rock. Qin Yao walked closer and recognized Shen Tu. Shen Tu praised Qin Yao for showing up on time. Accuracy, it is always a courtesy. Or should we call Qin Yao a spy from the Immortal Forge sect? These words made Qin Yao tense up greatly. It was evident from his gaze. But then he tried to turn it into a joke. It's like Shen Tu is saying all sorts of things about him. Yes, He had doused it with the Genyuan beast's urine, but that was nothing but his way of self-defense. Everything else has nothing to do with him at all. Shentu was amused by such a response. He knows that Qin Yao is pretending. He pulled Qianyue's mangled and scarred but still alive body with his hair. He was unconscious, and blood was dripping from his wounds. What he saw greatly startled Qin Yao. He immediately rushed to his uncle, but Shentu's sharp and sudden strike blocked Qin Yao's path. The black blade almost severed Qin Yao's head. He jumped back just in time. He only got away with a slight scar on his cheek. Shentu is bragging to Qin Yao. He tortured Qianyue for a very long and painful time. How else would he be able to recognize Qin Yao's true identity? And that his name was actually Lone Star. Qin Yao didn't expect that Shentu had already learned everything he needed to know. He knows everything now, and there's no point in hiding. Shentu didn't expect Qin Yao to turn out to be such a big fish, secret agent of the Immortals. Qin Yao also didn't expect Shentu to give out secret information about the Imperial Demon Sect. Everything made sense to Shentu. He now realizes who was eavesdropping on the boat. Qin Yao begins to be cunning and stall. He offers Shentu an alliance. After all, they already know each other's secrets. There's no point in fighting. Shentu was amused by the idea of forming an alliance. The most important thing for Qin Yao right now was to stall for time and save Qianyue. And then we can deal with Shentu. Qin Yao asks Shentu to let Qianyue go. After all, this is his uncle, and he cares a lot about him. Shentu is mocking. After all, Qianyue had ratted out Qin Yao with his guts. And even after all this, he strives to save his life. He throws Qianyue's unconscious and injured body at Qin Yao. Now he can take it away for his health. Qin Yao grabbed him and thanked Shentu for his kindness, ye grace. And at the same instant he felt something hurt him in the side. Shentu with his hair pierced through Qianyue's body and killed him. Qin Yao was simply dumbfounded by Shentu's meanness. But the man calmly explained that the old man had received no information about him. So the only living witness who knows Shentu's secret is Qin Yao. Qin Yao had miscalculated. He didn't manage to buy time. Besides, he was injured right now. Shentu praised Qin Yao for his good reaction. He, on the other hand, had hoped to kill 2 people with 1 punch. But he didn't succeed. Shentu is glad that Qin Yao is still alive. After all, he must die very slowly and painfully. Qin Yao said that they seem to have agreed not to kill each other. Shentu never trusts anyone. He only trusts himself. Qin Yao realizes that a battle is inevitable, and there's little chance of winning. But we have to stall for time. We must try to keep him quiet. Shentu was still laughing at Qin Yao's naivety. Even if he didn't know Qin Yao's secret, he wouldn't have turned him into Bai Li Feng. The black blade came close to Qin Yao's face in an instant. He managed to repel the lunge with his sword, even though it damaged it a bit. Shentu himself wants to kill Qin Yao. It will bring him indescribable pleasure. He doesn't want to share it with anyone. The sound of a tinkling blade was heard. Shentu launched an attack on Qin Yao. Tirelessly trying to break through his defense, he praised his enemy. He's good with a sword. Qin Yao. This praise is unnecessary. He's holding on with his last strength. Another lunge has been repulsed. Qin Yao tried to shorten the fighting distance and hit his opponent with his scabbard. Shentu was able to block that punch. He chose the right moment to attack. The enemy opened up. Just 1 shot to the body. Qin Yao pushes back the enemy's blade with his hand just in time. Shentu merely gives Qin Yao a light cut. It was close to Qin Yao's death. Shentu saw another opportunity. The enemy had once again let his guard down. He threw another punch at Qin Yao, but he dodged skillfully. He was able to take his chance. Qin Yao swung his sword properly and counterattacked, and struck from behind, right in the throat. Shentu probably got him. No, it didn't do any damage. Shentu blocked the blade strike with his armor just in time, and with all his might, he kicked his foot into Qin Yao's face. He did a somersault and flew several meters away from Shentu. He landed and could barely stay on his feet. Shentu recognized that his death was near. Falsely opened up and almost received a fatal blow. If it wasn't for the hair protecting his body, Qin Yao would have pierced his throat. With this strike, Qin Yao put all of his spiritual power into the tip of the sword, and Shentu was unharmed. He is so cautious that even from this angle there is a defense at his side. Qin Yao recognized that his enemy is very cunning and strong. Qin Yao activate his ghost shadow doppelganger. He has a plan to kill Shentu. Shentu immediately recalls this ghost shadow technique. Qin Yao flies at Shentu. He tells him that he's an idiot and doesn't understand anything at all. Their difference in levels negated all of Qin Yao's efforts. He wouldn't be able to do him any harm. Shentu strikes, and the ghostly shadow crumbles to dust. This was something he hadn't expected. Qin Yao called Shentu a fool. No one is going to fight him. It was a deceptive maneuver. He can't defeat him, so he goes back to the Demon Clan and pawns him off as a spy and agent of the enemy. Shentu laughs. Qin Yao is very naive and he won't be able to escape. He takes a sharp leap and instantly catches up with Qin Yao. Qin Yao runs with all his legs to escape as quickly as possible from the battlefield. Shentu lands a straight right on top of him and knocks Qin Yao right off his feet. At the last moment, Qin Yao was able to quickly dodge and get to his feet. Beneath his feet, he could hear a strange crackling sound. He quickly cast a protection spell. Shentu's underground stakes penetrated the shield, but he was able to protect Qin Yao. It was really close this time. Any closer and he would have been a dead man. Immediately, Qin Yao is hit in the face by Shentu's mace. This blow knocks him off his feet. Qin Yao flies on his back and tries to stall his fall with his sword. Only 300 meters left to the target. Shentu realizes that his opponent wants to use the same technique as before. A ghostly shadow flies at him. Shentu lands a body punch and chops Ghost Shadow into 2 pieces with his axe, hitting Qin Yao in the process. Ghost Shadow is recovering for now. Shentu had destroyed Qin Yao's doppelganger. Now he wouldn't be able to move. Qin Yao swings his sword to make a strike, but Shentu's hair is entangling Qin Yao's blade. He can't strike with it. Qin Yao realizes that something is approaching him from the back. Spontaneously, Shentu jumps out. He tries to give Qin Yao one last fatal blow. Qin Yao sees a black blade in front of his eyes. Shentu chopped the ghostly shadow in half. A little while later, he realized it was a hoax. Qin Yao was able to dodge the deadly strike again. Shentu is puzzled. But he had just destroyed the clone, but his opponent could still use this technique. The ghostly shadow regains its shape,
And Shentu strikes.
he can already see her blade in front of his face. Shentu instinctively covers his head with his hand. Qin Yao laughs at his opponent. He thinks he's a real weakling. Shentu had just learned that Ghost Shadow was unable to attack. Now it was clear to him why Qin Yao wasn't using it to attack. He wants to cut the ghostly shadow into pieces. After that, he thinks it won't recover. The scouted parts fly in the air, and then begin to form into a liquid form and come together. The ghostly shadow has been restored again. Qin Yao tells Shentu not to waste his strength. Until his spiritual strength runs out, the ghostly shadow cannot be destroyed. This is just a weak moving technique. Qin Yao is very much mistaken if he thinks that Shentu can't do anything to him. Shentu removes the hairpin from his hair. He had changed his mind about killing Qin Yao with a single blow. Now he had changed his wish. Shentu will torture him until Qin Yao begs him to die. He will rip out his soul. Thanks to the black silk technique, Shentu began to move on the ground like a spider. He is approaching Qin Yao very quickly. He finally caught up with him. Shentu brings one of his tentacles in to kill Qin Yao. Qin Yao summons a shadow move. It doesn't work, and he quickly applies a shield spell, which easily breaks Shentu's tentacles. Qin Yao flew off to the side. A ghostly shadow poked through. Qin Yao realized that Shentu was able to figure out the secret of his technique. That was why he was unable to move at will. Now the attack was completely different, because Shentu's strength is different now. He originally wanted to attack Qin Yao and his clones at the same time. Even if they switched positions, it wouldn't yield any results. But he noticed something curious. If Qin Yao's ghost shadow was damaged, he wouldn't be able to switch places with it. Qin Yao dodges Shentu's attacks with great difficulty. The ghostly shadow begins to recover. Shentu immediately starts tearing her to pieces. This time, it hit Qin Yao directly with its tentacles. Shentu begins to gloat. Why is it that Qin Yao can't use his favorite technique? What happened next was an absolute beating. The blows came from all sides. Shentu continues to laugh at Qin Yao. Now his self-confidence has just evaporated. The final tentacle strike. Qin Yao's back flies into the rock, which cracks. Qin Yao fell to the ground. He's breathing really hard. Qin Yao makes a sign from his hand, and Ghost Shadow disappears. Shentu rejoices. Qin Yao recalls his clone. He's completely useless now, or he has run out of spiritual power. The trickery that made Qin Yao thrust his sword into Shentu's throat made him nervous properly. Shentu realized that this was all the tricks Qin Yao had in store. He wouldn't be able to show anything else. The pitiful tricks of immortals. The tricks are over. Qin Yao really dislikes being used as a toy. Shentu is sure that Qin Yao won't be able to surprise him with anything else. It is even difficult for him to stand on his own feet right now. He's had enough fun with that brat. It's time to finish with Qin Yao. But Shentu gives Qin Yao credit. He was quite cunning in battle. He wants to break all his limbs before he kills him. But suddenly his tentacles stopped abruptly, and they start shaking violently. Shentu realized that he was now completely immobilized. Qin Yao smilingly gave a sigh of relief. It finally got him where he needed to go. A prepared trap. Shentu turned around. A horned demon, tusk demon, the demon Cyclops and his partner. Shentu is trapped by 6 demons, and now he's completely immobilized. But he realizes that Qin Yao won't be able to hold him in place for long with a formation of this size. Qin Yao's spiritual power is almost running out, and he doesn't pose any danger to Shentu. Qin Yao admits that he doesn't have the strength to attack. In order to save any remaining strength for the formation, he even withdrew his clone. Well, now Shentu would not be able to escape, dodge, or protect himself with his hair. There would be enough time for Qin Yao to deal with him once and for all. He had no intention of coming back alive. Qin Yao holds the souvenirs he bought at the store. Shentu recognizes these souvenirs to his horror. They are the pearls of fire and lightning. Qin Yao confirms that his enemy was right. Shentu starts yelling in fear for Qin Yao to stop. Qin Yao throws all 3 fire and lightning pearls at Shentu. Now they will go to the other world together. The pearl had cracked. Shentu's face was covered with fear, while Qin Yao's face read complete satisfaction. There was a tremendous explosion. The explosion made the rocks crackle and collapse. A bright flash appeared in the distance, and then the shockwave followed it. Small stones and dust rose the air. After the explosion, there was so much smoke in the air that you couldn't see anything at all. Finally, the smoke is slowly starting to clear. The rustling of rocks was heard, and one pebble starts to move slightly. Then all the rocks start to move and rustle violently. Shentu's hand bursts out from under the rubble. It was really close. But he had time to use his demonic armor. He had underestimated Qin Yao. He didn't think that his opponent would want to die with him. At least Shentu had applied the demon possession technique in time. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any bones left. But he paid dearly for using this technique. He survived, but with damaged organs. We have to stop this demon technique soon. It's taking years of life. Shentu heard something behind his back. His inner summoned demon tried to consume him. Very awkward move. Trying to take advantage of his host's weakness. Shentu has no intention of giving up so easily. So he drove the demon away. The demon obeyed Shentu's order and stepped aside, and then he started to fade away. Vaporized like smoke in the wind. Shentu let out a very heavy sigh. He is indeed badly injured, but he still can't believe it. What kind of madman goes to extremes to get revenge? He hopes Qin Yao is dead. A big explosion like that, someone's bound to come to this place soon. And there's 2 bodies here with no evidence. We need to get out of here as soon as possible. Shentu stands to his feet and sighs heavily. Near his feet, a small part of the ghostly shadow begins to emerge. Qin Yao's clone almost appeared on the surface. He climbed out from under the rubble. Shentu looked back. Qin Yao made an exchange with the shadow and appeared outside, while striking Shentu hard with his bloody sword. Shentu's wound is gushing blood, and in his eyes there was great surprise. Qin Yao realized that he had missed. The opponent had dodged. He goes in a second time. 3 more breaths again to deliver the fatal blow. Shentu wants to use his hair to repel the attack, but the bone in his shoulder is cracked. It's broken. What a bad time for all this to happen. Another punch. Qin Yao makes a deep cut on Shentu's chest. Shentu is drenched in his own blood and counterattacks. I can't wait for Qin Yao to die, but his hair falls into a ghostly shadow. Qin Yao stabs him from the back with his bloody sword and pierces his shoulder through and through. This is for his parents, who died in front of him. Shentu tries to cut off Qin Yao's head with his hair. He dodges the blow and creates a new blood sword. This sword is for all the innocents he killed. Qin Yao cuts Shentu's tendon on his leg. Shentu couldn't keep his footing and falls to his knee. He looks back with anger. Qin Yao bounces back. He's flying on the attack at Shentu. He, in turn, rushes forward to kill Qin Yao. They yell at each other and wish each other dead. They both opened up to attack and retaliate. Qin Yao once again applied the ghost shadow technique. Yi Shentu with his hair tore apart his doppelganger. He didn't realize where Qin Yao had gone. He quickly looked back. Shentu frantically tries to find his opponent's gaze. And at the last moment, a thought occurs to him. He will be attacked from above. Qin Yao swung his bloody sword for the final strike. Shentu thought it was a pathetic trick, and tried to cover himself with his hair. But Qin Yao's bloody sword strike was too strong. Shentu's defense couldn't withstand it. Shentu can't believe his eyes. His defenses have been breached. This is simply impossible. Qin Yao is completely exhausted. This is his limit. He can no longer maintain this state. But at the last moment, he noticed the threat to himself. There was a splash of blood in his eyes. Shentu managed to wound him with his hair. Shentu was puzzled. How could he be defeated by a weakling like Qin Yao? Qin Yao received a deep wound on his chest. Both of them collapsed to the ground. Shentu can barely breathe and lies in his own blood. Qin Yao has fallen down and is also lying down with almost no strength. Both opponents lie on the ground in a half-dead state. Qin Yao begins to move the finger of his hand. He slowly opens his eyes. So he survived the fight, but he's so weak and scarred that he doesn't even have the strength to stand up. It was very close. He almost destroyed his heart. Qin Yao says aloud to his mother and father that their son has avenged them. But suddenly he hears some extraneous sounds. Shentu's body begins to move. He's barely alive. Shentu underestimated Qin Yao. Qin Yao can't believe his eyes. He's still alive, it just can't be. Shentu is trying to get back to his feet, but abruptly falls to his knees again. He doesn't even have the strength for that. How could he hurt him so badly? How could he have such skill and technique? But Shentu has a treasure of his own, an amulet of healing. It will help him heal his wounds, but it will take time to regain the ability to walk. Qin Yao realizes that Shentu is at his limit. He too needs to recover his strength as soon as possible. Shentu laughs at Qin Yao. He remarks that his opponent is very calculating. He really thought that Qin Yao wanted to die with him, and this would be his last prank. But in the end, it was a beautiful trick. Everything to make a successful attack when Qin Yao's guard is down, and finally deliver the fatal blow. We have to hurry up. If Qin Yao can't stop the first force and can't move, he is a dead man. Shentu didn't expect that the opponent actually had a secret way to increase his cultivation level. This was extremely careless and reckless of him, purposely misleading Shentu by showing that Qin Yao's strength had run out, and show that he can no longer move. Qin Yao purposely made a hint of his willingness to die. It's all very cleverly calculated. Qin Yao isn't even close compared to the demons from the sect. There was only one thing Shentu couldn't understand: the ghostly shadow he had scattered with his hands. How could Qin Yao move during the explosion? Chances are he can create more than one shadow. Qin Yao said that he couldn't do that. Every time Shentu destroyed it, he would hide a few particles behind the stones. Before he could detonate the pearls, the particles from afar formed a complete doppelganger. Now it was clear why he was concentrating his ghostly shadow doppelganger within range of Shentu's attack. Shentu noticed that with such intelligence and strength, Qin Yao might not bother to go undercover in the demonic sect. Qin Yao replied that the Immortal Sect is trying for the stability of the peoples of the world. A devil henchman like Shentu is unable to understand this. Shentu laughed. The Immortal Sect still uses the old brainwashing methods for their followers, but they still work nonetheless. There's no difference between a demon sect and an immortal sect. They'll do anything for profit, and they will not hesitate to use any method. Qin Yao became very angry. A scumbag like Shentu can't know anything about how the Immortal Sect works and is organized. Shentu began to laugh very loudly. He was originally a disciple of the Immortal Sect's Night Hall, and they did all the dirty work. Qin Yao is sure that this is a lie. It is simply impossible. Such a scoundrel simply cannot know anything about honor, duty, and justice. Shentu has become an outcast of the Immortal Sect, but he also realizes that the Imperial Demon Sect is using him to their advantage. They have turned against him only for their own gain. He could be disposed of at any time if the need arose. Therefore, Shentu has been living only for himself ever since. Qin Yao doesn't believe in this nonsense. A person like Shentu can't be a disciple of the Immortal Sect, not with his moral character. Shentu laughs. Not all disciples of the Immortal Sect are good people. This sect is full of despicable and dirty deeds. At times, they kill innocent people too. Qin Yao is about to die. Shentu has no reason to deceive him before the end. It can't just end like this. Qin Yao screams that Shentu killed his parents, massacred his innocent family. But he was wearing the clothes of the Imperial Demon Sect. Now it's clear why there's such animosity between them. But it's very hard for him to tell which sect it was an order from. He was working undercover. Both sects were organizing similar missions. Qin Yao doesn't know what to reply to his enemy. Shentu added that maybe it was his whim in the first place. He had killed Qin Yao's family and his entire village to practice martial arts. Qin Yao's gaze radiated fury and anger. 12 years ago, they had led their men to massacre Qingyu village on the border of the Immortal Sect. Was it a mere whim, or was it still an order? Although, Qin Yao understands how such a demon assassin could memorize some small village. He had already killed so many people that he simply lost count. But Shentu remembered. This village is near Tianbing Cave. Qin Yao realizes that all his guesses have been confirmed, and he was right. This mere small broken village is the starting point for the start of the sect war. Otherwise, Shentu wouldn't have remembered it so clearly. Why would you slaughter an entire village? There were so many innocent people there, all on a whim or a criminal order. Shentu chuckled. If it was some other village, he wouldn't be able to remember. But for Qin Yao, he could give an answer. This village was ordered by both sects to be destroyed, and all the inhabitants slaughtered. No one was to be left alive. Qin Yao says he doesn't believe him. It was just a small village where ordinary people lived. They didn't do any harm to anyone. Well, the reason for this is of course unknown to mere disciples like Qin Yao and Shen Tu. There was a lot at stake. Qin Yao's eyes read loss and hopelessness. How could it be like this? Shen Tu noticed that Qin Yao must be the one who was rescued from Qingnu village. A very strange fate he has. He prepared his knife and swung it for the final blow. Today, Qin Yao would go to the other world to his parents. Qin Yao prepared to meet his end, just as suddenly something crunched and blood spurted. A large bloody flower appeared from Shen Tu's wound. Shen Tu can't believe his eyes. Something like this is coming out of his wound. Bloody flowers bursting forth, one by one, tearing the wound and causing the most horrible pain. They begin to burst out from all of Shen Tu's wounds that Qin Yao had inflicted with his bloody sword. Shen Tu falls to his knees. Kneeling down, he sighs softly. His healing talisman goes out in his palm and falls to the ground. Shen Tu asks Qin Yao what he did to him. Qin Yao smiles lightly. If Shen Tu wants to know what really happened to him, let him go to hell and ask Yan Wang. There's something wrong with Qin Yao's bloody sword. It's because of the blood. Qin Yao just stares at his enemy and remains silent. Shen Tu starts to moan pitifully and begs for mercy from Qin Yao. Qin Yao cynically remarked that such a heartless and scary scumbag Shen Tu was so much afraid of death. But he wouldn't be able to save him. It would never work. As soon as Qin Yao used his power, the demon blood entered Shen Tu's body and began to crystallize. This would continue until his last breath, until he died. If not for the 5 breaths that had completely drained Qin Yao's strength, he would have immediately killed him without waiting. Shen Tu begs pitifully for mercy. Magical weapons, spirit stones, he is willing to give anything to preserve his life. Qin Yao answered him in a very short and concise manner. He only wants him dead. That's all he wants. Shen Tu is silent, sighing heavily. Well, doesn't he want to know the whole truth about the destruction of the village by the 2 clans? Qin Yao grabbed Shen Tu by the scruffs and started shaking him. He needs more information. He told him to answer immediately. But the conditions are one thing. Qin Yao must save Shen Tu from death. He said he couldn't save him even if he wanted to. It's out of his hands. Shen Tu said that the healing amulet filled with energy could save him. We must hurry. Qin Yao saw the amulet at his feet. He quickly picked it up and it glowed. But he doesn't know what to do or how to treat Shen Tu. He repeats his question, but the man remains silent. Shen Tu falls to the ground with his face. You can see its shards of crystallized blood on the rocks. Qin Yao realizes that this is it now. Shen Tu is dead. The healing amulet in Qin Yao's hands glowed. It began to absorb into his skin. Qin Yao didn't realize what had happened. He only felt an intense warmth in his palm. And abruptly lost consciousness. He passed out and collapsed next to the dead Shen Tu. So the 2 of them lay in the excavation after the explosion, only gusts of wind whipping around beneath them. The morning came, and the sun rose from behind the mountains. Old Man Mo loudly knocks on Qin Yao's room. He's very angry. He doesn't know where he can carry that damn boy. It's time for work, and he's still not here. Bailey Fing told Old Man Mo not to look for him. After all, he's not here. He explained to the master that he had come to him because of Qin Yao. Light comes through the grate of the dark chamber. Qin Yao is bound to the cross with chains and shackles. His wounds are bandaged. He is now in a torture chamber. He has a professional executioner working beside him. The executioner asks Qin Yao what Shen Tu found out about the fact that the latter was aware of his information trading. For that, he was going to kill him. But he managed to prevail. Qin Yao confirms that everything he said is true. He wouldn't dare to deceive the executioner. Soon they will know if he is really telling the truth or not. The executioner warns Qin Yao that lying will cost him a lot. He has no idea what will be done to him if he tells a lie. Qin Yao would never dare to do so. There was a very big commotion yesterday. Of course it was to be expected that Qin Yao would be taken into custody for investigation. He told the whole truth. He just withheld some information. Qin Yao really hopes that no one and nothing will ever find out about his uncle. A voice came from behind the door. The results of the investigation are in. The executioner says to open the doors. The speaker begins to whisper to the executioner all the information available. Qin Yao remains silent and keeps his composure. Indeed, Shen Tu had requested a very rare elixir to cure a strange poison not too long ago. The investigation confirmed it, but the amount of toxin in Shen Tu's corpse was already very low. The other victim at the scene was a neighboring hill merchant. Nothing suspicious was found. According to the hunting team members, the 2, Shen and Qin, had a terrible conflict during the last hunt. As a result, one of them was killed. In addition, the investigator found the current account of Shen Tu's illegal money from the sale of information. The executioner held the report open and remained silent. The investigator said that no one had seen this countdown. He immediately, after receiving all the information, went to the executioner. The executioner advises the investigator not to tell anyone about it. He's done a good job, and now they're letting him go. He's free to go. The executioner stands with his back to Qin Yao and remains silent. Looks like he wasn't lied to by Qin Yao. He was pleasantly surprised by this. Qin Yao confirmed that he would never dare to lie. He asked the master if he could be free. The executioner winks at his servant who is standing behind Qin Yao's back, and he starts choking him with a chain. And he's being read lines from a future report. The criminal Qin Yao intended to conspire with the enemy last night in a remote valley. After being accidentally discovered by Shentu, he was killed by the hands of Qin Yao and his accomplices. While in custody, Qin Yao hanged himself in fear of his future punishment. Qin Yao can't understand why they're doing this to him. The executioner told him to blame himself for seeing something he shouldn't have. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, the gate to the Demon Clan prison. Old Mo comes to the gate. It is explained to him that the head of the hall is here to enforce the law, and unauthorized people are not allowed to enter. Manager Yang recognizes Old Man Mo. The old man says he wants the warden of the Black Prison. Manager Yang apologizes to Old Man Mo. The master has ordered that no one is allowed in, so he is asked to wait outside the prison. The old man is sympathetic to this. He realizes that it will be impossible to find common ground with the warden. He sincerely hopes that nothing bad will happen to Qin Yao. The chains choked Qin Yao's throat harder and harder. Qin Yao had gone to such lengths, he didn't think it would come to this. Maybe the executioner is also involved in buying and selling information about the demonic clan. It's a shame to die like this, after all you've been through. His eyes are slowly closing, and he loses consciousness. Then the door to the cell breaks and simply flies off its hinges. The command to stop immediately is heard. Knocks down the executioner's assistant. He apologizes and apologizes to Mr. Warden. Shen Tianbin is admonished by the executioner. Even if he is the master of the night hall, he can't just ignore the Black Prison Hall. But he has no choice but to do so. The bird sits in the cage with glowing yellow eyes. If only he had been a few moments late, this issue with the leaked information would indeed be unproven, and all leads would be lost. Shen Tianbing says that if he'd been late, they would never have found the evidence. That leaves a living witness. The executioner looks at Shen Tianbing and maintains his silence. He pretends not to understand what the master of the night room is telling him. Shen Tianbing tells the executioner that his participation is no longer important. All the minute actions and details are described in this report. The executioner is very much surprised. How did he get his hands on that report? He gave orders not to show it to anyone. And then, he saw the investigator behind Shen Tianbin's back who had brought him this report. He got really pissed off. How dare that son of a bitch investigator betray him? Shen Tianbing smirked. The kind of boss he is, the kind of subordinates he has. Mr. Warden, all the evidence is in front of you. You still have something to say. The old man could be pacing back and forth near the Black Prison gate. He's obviously nervous. Manager Yang realizes that Old Man Mo has come for his disciple Qin Yao. This surprised the old man a little. How Manager Yang is so knowledgeable is a real mystery. A Qi practitioner that could kill a practitioner with a foundation. Such a talent definitely deserved close attention. Manager Yang reassures Old Man Mo. Please don't worry, he tells him. Shen Tianbing will protect Qin Yao. He is an important witness for them. Old Man Mo makes a good point. What kind of witness is Qin Yao? Wasn't that boy arrested for murder? This suggests that there will be no death penalty, at least for now. There was an explosion on the roof of the Black Prison. Shards of tile flew in different directions. This event caught the attention of everyone nearby. Thick white smoke rose from the site of the explosion all the way to the heavens. The executioner flew out on his wings, out of a hole in the roof. Shen Tianbing realizes that the executioner will not be able to escape. The birdcage in Shen Tianbing's hands begins to glow brightly and become energized. Then he gives the command to go forward, and bright beams burst out of the cage. The executioner has already flown quite far away on his wings from the Black Prison, but the bright rays are quickly catching up with him. Flying very fast, but still the rays catch up with him. The last moment he notices it. He realizes that if the golden lights catch up, he's in big trouble. The executioner begins to fight off the golden lights. Executioner begins to accelerate hard to escape, breaks the sound barrier. The golden lights turn around and fly after him. He realizes it will never end. They catch up with him again. He does have one possibility. If he flies overseas, no one can find him. With his side vision, he realizes that something is approaching him. A big blue bird with a skull in its mouth. It's a sight that will frighten everyone. She starts screaming or giving off sound waves that just knock the spirit out of the executioner. His whole body begins to vibrate and shake fearfully from those waves. The golden lights are catching up with him. He tells this bird to shut its mouth, and with one swipe of his hand, he throws her far away. And then he speeds up even faster, and he's on his way. He must hurry. It seems the golden lights have not yet caught up with him. But then he runs into some sort of obstacle. The executioner, with a bloody lump on his forehead, looks at the obstacle with bewilderment. Golden bars surround him in a circle. But when they put this obstacle in place, he has no idea. Now the executioner finds himself completely reduced to the size of a mere bird and caged. The gates of the black prison swung open. Shen Tianbing made a black joke towards Old Man Mo. He called him an old ghoul. His place was to lie in a coffin and wait for death. Could he have forgotten something near the gate of the black prison? Old Mo was not a bad guy either. He told Shen Tianbin that his teeth stink so badly that even the cesspool in his house doesn't stink as badly as his mouth. Shen Tianbing calmly replied that this was yet to be seen. He swept up that Old Man Mo had a good student as well. Qin Yao is too good for Old Man Mo. Why doesn't the old man let him go to serve Shen Tianbin? Old Man Mo cut him off. In his opinion, Shen Tianbing was only fit to tease livestock and other small creatures. Therefore, there was no need to mislead his subordinates. Shen Tianbing warned Old Man Mo. He'll get what he wants by force if not by kindness. But the question is where the stinking ghost got his power. A competition between old people is proposed. Manager Jan doesn't like the idea. Shen Tianbing told Old Man Mo that he would chop him into pieces and bring him back to feed him to his demon tiger. Old Man Mo was not confused and replied to Shen Tianbing that he would beat the crap out of him. Manager Yang is trying to keep the old men quiet. They spit stinking spit. A servant came running to Shen Tianbin. He says there's been a disaster. Senior Huang, but no longer has Huang Xiaosheng in mind. How could he borrow his demon tiger to carry his cargo? A tiger is not a mule. It's a precious beast that even Shen Tianbing doesn't dare to scold. And it is used as a mere donkey to carry heavy loads. Old Man Mo has some sound advice. Shen Tianbin should hurry up and go after him. Otherwise, it will be too late, because it will be impossible to find even the remains of the tiger. Shen Tianbing started to speak respectfully to the old man. He knows that his little granddaughter Mo Si is with Huang Xiaoxian. But the old man doesn't see anything wrong in this, as they often fool around together. And they also got medicine pills from somewhere and sell them on the streets of every hall. To which the old man again replied that it was not a good thing to have your own business. Then for a while, Old Man Mo remained silent. But very quickly it came to him that they had stolen these pills from his alchemy cabinet. The old masters exchanged threats among themselves. They said that each of them was lucky. Now we must quickly look for the magic tiger and the granddaughter with Elder Huang. It's getting evening. The sun is setting behind the mountains. The courtyard of Qin Yao's dwelling. Now Qin Yao was starting to understand everything. This executioner warden was in cahoots with Shen Tu. No wonder he wanted to kill him. There was something else Zaylin wanted to tell Qin Yao. The information about his uncle? He's dead. Qin Yao knows it very well. Zaylin asks Qin Yao to accept her condolences. She leaves Qin Yao for a short while. She goes to the medicine hall, will return later to change his bandages. The doors of the room are closing. Qin Yao was finally able to avenge his parents. He killed Shentu, but for some reason, he doesn't feel happy at all. Qin Yao looks at his hands and feels like broken glass. The healing amulet glows brighter and brighter. He holds it in his hands. The treasure left by Shentu has a good healing effect. And on top of that, it also possesses a will. It took Qin Yao a lot of effort to master it. After researching, with the help of his spiritual sense, he discovered that the healing amulet was not only meant to heal wounds. The inside of this amulet filled with countless runes and formations that Qin Yao, as of yet, was unable to understand. He was greatly shocked. The sheer number and complexity of the construction was simply overwhelmingly astounding. Qin Yao knows how to use it for now, but it is quite clear to him that this thing is extremely unusual. However, if he could, he would be willing to trade that treasure for the truth. He really needs to know what happened exactly then in his village. Why the Immortal Sect and the Imperial Demon Sector ordered the destruction of his home and parents. Shentu is now dead, but he was just a pathetic pawn following orders. If what he said is true, then both sects are Qin Yao's enemies. If it was all the Emperor Demon Sect, then it was to be expected. That's their nature and nature. But if it's all the fault of the Immortal Sect, there must be some hidden meaning in this amulet. Perhaps it was a conspiracy by the Imperial Sect, or there was some misunderstanding in the village. That's possible too. Qin Yao thought to himself that he couldn't trust the words of a scumbag like Shen Tu. The Immortal Sect master would never dare to kill ordinary people indiscriminately. More and more often, Qin Yao's words of Shen Tu resounded in his mind. But if it really is the work of a master, and he destroyed an entire village, in that case, Qin Yao doesn't know what to do. Someone knocks on the door of the room. Qin Yao heard a familiar voice. It was someone coming to change his bandages. He says to come in. He was very surprised to see her in his room. Luo Chen came instead of Zaylin. She quickly saw from Qin Yao's eyes that he was not happy that she was the one who came to help him. Qin Yao says that there is nothing wrong with it. It doesn't matter at all who changes the bandages. Zaylin still has a lot of things to do. That's why Luo Chen will take her place today. She volunteered herself. Luo Chen really dislikes Qin Yao. She wants to take revenge for his past failure. First, Qin Yao needs to wash his wounds. Of course, it might be very painful, but you have to be patient. There's no way without it. Qin Yao was very embarrassed by this, but then for some reason he felt like a big macho guy. And he said I shouldn't be careful, and I shouldn't feel sorry for him either. Luo Chen was just waiting for those words. He had asked for it himself, and she started to press early and with all her might. Qin Yao started squealing like a girl that he was in a lot of pain. And she tells him to be a man and be patient. A few days later, Qin Yao was already hard at work. He didn't know what he had done to offend Luo Chen so much. Fortunately, thanks to the treasure-healing amulet, most of his body had recovered. But the issue with his ruined village of Qingnui is still open. The Immortal Sect had always done good for the world. But according to Shen Tu, it did as much harm as the Demon Sect. Shen Tu, before his death, had no reason to lie. Is everyone who is immortal capable of all these horrible crimes? Qin Yao can't figure out which of these sects has the real demons hidden in it. Old Man Mo looks at Qin Yao as if he is lost. He has fallen out of reality again. Last time, he almost fried hundreds of servings of medicine. Zaylin asks Old Man Mo to be more considerate of Qin Yao. After all, he has lost his only relative. Apart from his maternal uncle, he has no one else. Old Man Mo is giving instructions to Zaylin that she should take him with her when she goes on a mission. We should give Qin Yao some work. If he's busy more, he'll think less about it. Zaylin noticed that Old Man Mo was greatly worried about Qin Yao, but the old man said it's nonsense. The only thing he's worried about is that this knucklehead might mess up his medicine. If he fries the medicine one more time, he'll deduct the full cost from his paycheck. The aircraft follows to the site of the demolition. Zaylin announces to everyone on board that they will be responsible for post-war search and rescue. To be safe, it is necessary to gather in groups of at least 3 people. She also warns that if they meet any wounded from the Immortal Sect, they will have to treat them while keeping their own safety in mind. The team starts whispering and arguing. They really don't like this decision. It is their enemies they are fighting. One of the team members asks Zaylin why they have to rescue members of an immortal sect at the risk of their own lives. First of all, this is an order and it must be obeyed. This is the first thing you need to understand for yourself. The whole crew was silent for a moment. There was silence on deck. Secondly, she will explain now why this is the right thing to do. The wounded from the demon sect can be exchanged for our already captured students. It may also be useful for intelligence gathering. Zaylin asked if there was anyone else who questioned her orders. If so, let them raise a bold hand, and she will allow them to stay on the ship and refuse to participate in the mission, since she didn't meet any objections. So they would move forward and proceed as planned. All team members agreed to this. The aircraft sailed over the charred houses. Qin Yao saw, looking overboard, the ground smoking and burning. Only recently there was a big fire and devastation here. Qin Yao realizes that this is an ordinary village of common people. The ship has landed on the ground and everyone has disembarked. All crews should begin immediate search and rescue. Remain alert to ensure safety. There are ashes everywhere, destroyed buildings and outbuildings, the charred, chopped corpses of immortals and ordinary citizens. The crows have already swooped down on their prey. They're pecking at the dead meat. A little girl sits by her mom and cries. One of the team members said to Qin Yao, "I need to look for ordinary citizens injured by Taoist techniques will not survive." Qin Yao remembered the main rule. In all sects, it was forbidden to harm ordinary people. How is it possible to fight a battle here? Even women and children are not spared. His partner on the search party says that he's too naive. Who cares about taboos when it comes to war? He immediately realized that this was Qin Yao's first time in the field. But it's something to get used to because it's war. No one cares about the ants' lives. Qin Yao clenches his teeth in anger. He is amazed that his partner calls these innocent mortals mere insects. No, his partner told him. In war, they are all ants and other insects. Qin Yao has no choice but to remain silent. There's no need to argue here. After all, it is essentially true. War is merciless to all who fight and to the peaceful. Qin Yao realizes with horror that this woman dead was pregnant. What kind of person is able to do such a thing? One of the search team members tells him, "Of course, the people from the Immortal Sect did it. There's no one else. This territory is Imperial Demon Sect territory. No one else would dare to tear through here. But all those immortals known for their decency, their mercy, their kindness. How could it be them?" His partner continued. "Immortals are nothing but hypocrites who don't pretend. They rape, pillage, and murder. This is just normal for them." But Qin Yao doesn't want to believe this in any way. The girl called Qin Yao Mr. Immortal. She wants to know how her mom is. Qin Yao K regretfully tells the little girl that her mom is dead. She starts crying and hitting the ground. She begs for her mom to be saved. After all, there is some elixir that will bring her back to life. Qin Yao tries to calm her down. The child is drinking hysterically and says she won't until her mom is rescued. She begs Qin Yao. She'll work for him for the rest of her life if he'll help. Qin Yao didn't know what to reply to the little girl. Just then, a leg kick from one of Qin Yao's partners followed. It hit a small child exactly in the head. The baby burst and rolled onto its side. The partner started yelling at the kid. "She's a worthless little bitch. Does she think her pathetic life is worth anything? Of course not. Even if such an elixir existed, the Demon Sect warriors would never waste it on a bunch of mortals like this child." Out of resentment, the child cried. Even though she was very young, she understood everything perfectly. Her mother was dead, and she couldn't be brought back from the dead. Qin Yao told her to go with them. They would try to take care of her, but she didn't want to leave her mother's body. He explained to the child that she would starve to death if she stayed here near her mother's corpse in the ruined house. The partner said coldly, "If the child wants to stay and die, then so be it. There's no need to waste precious time." And he starts to walk out of the yard of the destroyed private house. But if the little girl goes with them, maybe she'll get a chance to see her mother's soul again. The child's eyes went wide. She started screaming and asking me to wait for her. But immediately she tripped and hit her face on the ground. The partner complained about how troublesome it was to take care of children. He told Qin Yao to take this child to the camp. Qin Yao's partners ask him questions. They're here for search and rescue. One missed moment and the victim could die. You don't want to be distracted by silly things like cranky children. Qin Yao apologized to them. The little girl is already eating something because she was very hungry. He has given advice that he should grow up soon and not let this happen again. The partner said that if Qin Yao didn't want the cranky child to stay in the ruined village, he could just cut it down and carry it away. Despite his rigidity, Qin Yao's partner still didn't want the little girl to starve to death. The search team saw the prisoners from the Immortal Sect. They were escorted out surrounded by a convoy, down a broken street. The little girl was very much frightened when she saw them, and clung to Qin Yao very tightly. He felt the girl trembling, and clinging to him more and more tightly. She told him bad immortals. They're the ones who killed her mom. And she cried really hard after saying that. Qin Yao was taken aback by these words. He clarified with the child that it was the two men in white he was talking about. The child confirmed it. He didn't know what to say. At the camp, he left the girl to the girls and the Demon Clan, who fed the other collected and rescued children from the village. The child would not lie. The people of the Demon Sect could blame the Immortals for all their atrocities, the fear and hatred in her eyes. All of this proves only one thing. Those who committed the one crime are undoubtedly from the Immortal Sect. And he went to the cage to the prisoners. Qin Yao wondered where the chief of the Immortals was. The one who was closer to the cage said he didn't need to know who was in charge. If he wants to kill, let him kill everyone. Qin Yao said that the Immortal Sect warriors had killed mere mortals. He was looked at with bewilderment, killed forgetting all their cult's promises to protect the innocent. And to them, it's just words. There's no need to pretend to be moralistic. If the demonic sect didn't force ordinary people to harbor their soldiers, the Immortals wouldn't have to kill everyone. So the Immortal Sect wars don't even spare a pregnant woman in her 3rd month. That's exactly what it looks like. You could see from the warrior's face that he was overwhelmed with bitterness and frustration. He started yelling at Qin Yao. It's the demons' fault. They are the reason why all these ordinary people are dead. If it wasn't for the demon spawn that flooded the world, they would be alive and whole. They're the ones who torment the common people. They don't let them live in peace. Qin Yao grabbed through the bars of the warrior's cell and called him a bastard. Killing people innocently to blame others for it is so easy for an enemy of the demonic sect. It's amazing. There's no guilt at all. At first, the warrior from the Immortal Sect remained silent. But then he was caught up in Qin Yao's words. Didn't he ask himself when killing other brothers from the Immortal Sect? How could Qin Yao know how many innocent people were among them? Didn't he have blood on his hands? Who is Qin Yao to question and accuse others? And forcefully pushed Qin Yao away from the grate. Qin Yao couldn't stay on his feet and fell on his back. Such an emotional response from an Immortal Sect warrior greatly hurt Qin Yao. He began to scrutinize his hands. He kept looking at them, and he remained silent. There was blood on his hands too. Thunder rumbles could be seen in the night sky. Along with the thunderstorm came the rain, and the ground is all wet underfoot. Qin Yao begins to think. If he hadn't gotten into the demon sect, he would have continued to think that everyone he killed necessarily deserved it. Now that all this has happened, he has no right to judge others, because he himself committed atrocities and crimes. In a dilapidated courtyard, the demon sect's search and rescue team set up a hospital. Qin Yao bandages the old man and now says that everything is fine. The old man thanks him and calls him immortal. But the old man has nothing to pay for his kindness. He shouldn't do this. Nothing is expected of the old man. Qin Yao carries out the order. The old man cries and says he will never forget this to the brother of the demon sect. Qin Yao wants to know what happened in this village. What happened to the common people? The old man replies that the story is very long. Some immortal demon sect immortals were being dispatched in this village from their wounds. When the immortal demon sect heard about it, they sent a punitive unit and surrounded the village. The demon sect fighters hadn't recovered yet, so they hid them as best they could. When the immortals couldn't find the wounded, they caught a man who sent a message to the demon sect asking for help. The immortal sect warriors got angry and started killing everyone, forcing them to hand over those who had taken refuge. The people of the demon sect couldn't hide behind the backs of the residents and joined the battle as well. The old man said next, "Young master, sure everyone knows what happened next." Qin Yao wanted to know why the old man had taken such a risk for the demon sect. The old man explained to Qin Yao that for many years, the elements had been raging here in the village, causing a lot of misfortune to the common people. Fortunately, the villagers were able to survive thanks to the patronage of the demon sect. If the old man can save the immortal master, it's worth sacrificing his life. He hopes that one day there will be peace, so that their children and grandchildren can live in peace without war. In the past, the old man had heard about the evil deeds of the demon sect. All the villages and towns he'd been to hated demons. But in this village, it's the opposite. Qin Yao is beginning to realize the murdered Shentu is right. There is no difference between the immortal sect and the demon sect. He felt like he saw himself as a child in that little baby girl. And the people who killed Qin Yao's mother and father were just like him. While he was hungry for revenge, he was also something of an enemy. Now he wants to know the reason for it all. But most of all, he wants to break this endless cycle. Qin Yao stands in the rain and ponders. He can't tell who is right and who is wrong in the feud between the two sects. In fact, he doesn't know what he's fighting for anymore. The war between the two sects has already cost him both his parents. He really doesn't want to lose any of the people around him. Qin Yao has grown to hate this war. He just wants to end it. But in front of the two sects, his own strength is no more than it is beside a fly. He realizes he can't change anything alone. There's an explosion and a fire in a neighboring house. Wasn't that where the sister was? The building went up in flames like a match. Puffs of smoke from the fire rose high into the sky. All the other participants ran to the scene of the explosion. No one could understand what had happened, whether there were any injuries. 2 of the demon sect soldiers captured a wounded immortal sect soldier. Zaylin kindly healed the man, but he took advantage of the situation and attacked her. Luckily, no one was injured. The immortal sect warrior pressed face down on the ground, screamed and spat. He didn't believe in good treatment from the demon sect. They have no mercy and kindness. One of the demon sect said he was about to smash him for such a despicable act. Zaylin stopped him just in time. She told me to take him away and leave him alone, not to torture or kill him. Her subordinates said you can't feel sorry for a scumbag like that. She won't even have to get her hands dirty. They'll do it for her. When they get him, he'll be begging to die. Zaylin again told everyone to follow the captain's orders. They took the immortal sect warrior back to the cage with the others. But the wars are beginning to whisper amongst themselves. Such kindness will sooner or later lead to big trouble. Being too kind is foolish. For now, it doesn't concern them. Qin Yao only listened and remained silent. In the evening of the same day, they gathered in the tent around the fire. Qin Yao fetched some clean water. Zaylin realized he wanted to say something to her. Most likely, Qin Yao really wants to know why she just let this person from the Immortal Sect go. Qin Yao was a little surprised. It was as if she could read minds. Well, not the first person to ask her that. Xylin doesn't want to have to explain it for a long time. And she doesn't really want to. After all, Qin Yao won't understand why she's doing it. So let him follow orders. Qin Yao realizes that Xylin might have her own reasons. But such actions are not good for both sides. The people of the Immortal Sect won't appreciate her kindness. Neither will her subordinates in the Demon Sect. The clan brothers probably say that Xylin is an overly good-natured girl. Qin Yao probably thinks so too. Qin Yao doesn't think so. He just doesn't see the point of it. He noticed that good people don't get good in return. Xylin is certain that she is not a good person. Qin Yao was very surprised by Xylin's words. Of course she is kind to people, saving their lives and healing their wounds. Of course she is a good person. She sighed heavily. But she didn't say anything. Then she continued. Qin Yao thinks Xylin is a good person, just because she was kind to him. But some people wish her a very painful death. Qin Yao doesn't understand who could wish such a thing on her. And more importantly, why? Xylin asked Qin Yao if he knew about the Night Hall of the Imperial Demon Sect. There was an assassin in the Night Hall whom she forcefully nicknamed Poison Death. Her cold-blooded and ruthless nature was awe-inspiring even to other assassins. It didn't matter who the target was. The infirm, the elderly, women and children, enemies or fellow disciples. Whatever order was given, it was sure to be obeyed. She didn't even care about her own life. Thus, she went head-to-head and became an elite among the assassins. But even this murder weapon wasn't perfect. It had one weakness. She was never soft, not because she was born cold-blooded, but because there was only one person she cared about. Her brother Qing Jie. Only in time spent with her brother did Poison Death feel that she was not a tool in the hands of others. They had been together since they were children. After it was discovered that they had spiritual roots, they were accepted into the Emperor Demon Sect. She got into the night room, but she didn't say anything to her brother about it. She hoped to give him more resources and provide him with a better life. For that reason, she didn't even care about her own life. But as fate would have it, her brother joined the Hall of Medicine. They provided frontline care to wounded soldiers and locals. She didn't want him anywhere near the place, though. He tried to save as many people as possible, whether they were his own or enemies. Even put himself in mortal danger because of it. And his sister didn't understand. But whether it was worth it, no one will ever know. Qingji doesn't think that both sects need to fight and kill people. But for some reason, they just keep doing it. He was proud of what he did. He thought it was a worthy endeavor. Because that's the way the world works. There's cause and effect. Poison Death couldn't understand his little brother's stupidity, but couldn't resist his stubbornness. But luckily he was safe, until one day she truly understood what her brother meant when he told her about cause and effect in this world. She said to herself, just to keep him safe. She heard someone approach the doorway. This is her associate, Poison Death, and all others the master of the hall summons urgently for a mission. They immediately set off into the forest. The mission is to rescue the intersect elder Tang Xing. The key is to follow his orders. 3 men are enough to save him, and the rest of the forces will arrive later. The order was clear to everyone. Their search led them to an open forest clearing. A warrior of an immortal sect threatens a demonic sect member with her sword. He begs for her mercy and tells her that there is definitely an antidote. She asks if it's an antidote. Suddenly, his heart feels like it's been entangled with barbed wire, and it begins to shrink. Terrified, Tang Xing screams out what she has done to him. He was struck by her sword of truth. One more lie would surely kill him. If he wanted to keep himself alive, he needed to give up the antidote. She asks him again if this is the real antidote, and he confirms that it is. But you need to give this medicine within half an hour. The warrior realizes he's telling the truth this time, but people like Tang Xin, they must die anyway. He puts his sword to Tang Xin's throat. Just as suddenly, something from the side hits the sword blade. She hears dozens of bone darts flying at her. The warrior woman quickly begins to dodge them. She sees her enemies. In front of her were the elite Night Hall assassins from the Demon Sect. They got there just in time. Tang Xin is alive. Now the warrior will fight alone against 3. Tang Xing rejoices and is overjoyed. He's saved. This is the Night Hall of the Demon Sect. He instructs them to capture this warrior bitch alive. He wants to make her life a living hell himself. The attack from different directions begins. 2 of them are throwing themselves at the Immortal Sect warrior. She prepared a spell, and quickly turned to leaves from the trees. She escaped using the switch technique. Tang Xin said she had to come back to save someone. He knows for sure where she's going. They leap like deadly shadows between the tree trunks and chase the warrior. The assassins need more information from Tang Xing. Then he'll be brief and tell the killers the gist of it. He took 18 men as contributors to the epidemic to secretly collect the souls of the dead in the city. But this warrior woman intervened several times, and she was later joined by 3 others. Under the banner of the Immortality Forging Sect, they used the medicine to save people, and all his thugs were killed indiscriminately. They attacked Tang Xing of his men as he was coming to his senses. There were only 8 of them left. They lost several men in the battle, and only 2 died on the warrior's side. 1 was injured. The few who survived, she killed when she pursued Tang Xing. If he didn't have the antidote, she would have killed him as well. Poison Death notes that this warrior's strength is probably as strong as theirs. I'm afraid it would be quite difficult to capture her alive. Tang Xin wouldn't stop. It must be done despite the difficulty. His brother is the deputy head of the Night Hall, and all the elite assassins would be seriously rewarded for their efforts. They agreed to it. Only the sounds of whistling between the tree trunks could be heard. The warrior woman runs as fast as she can on the ground. She notices something approaching her. Slicer dodges a punch combination. Then he sees a bone paw in front of him, which she wrestles away with her sword. Other paws approach her, but she fends them off with success as well. Another mercenary throws bone darts at her. She quickly dodges them, and fending off an attack of poisonous snakes. A bony paw strikes her leg. She falls face first into the ground. Tang Xing sees a female warrior confronting 3 elite assassins. He's enjoying the show. Now it's just a matter of wearing her down. She realizes she can't delay. She needs to run again. She uses the switch technique again, turns into a leaf swirl, and disappears. She was able to escape them. She moved in front of the gate of the old house. She quickly walks into the courtyard. The warrior woman hurries off at a breakneck pace. She needs to get inside soon. She shouts joyfully that she has found and brought the antidote, but realizes that the person she gave the antidote to is already dead. Tang Xing chuckles. He is very happy. Time's up. The guy is definitely dead. We need to go after her and not let her get away. The trail led them to an abandoned house. They landed right in the yard. Poison Death saw the warrior woman. She calmly walked out of the house with a stone face, and she bared her sword. And she said they were all demon cult scum. She cuts her hand and covers the sword blade with blood. It goes up in flames. She buries them all with it. The elite assassins realized who she was. Poison Death told her partners to be very careful. The warrior woman disappeared, leaving behind the leaves. A terrible battle began. She alone fought the 3, and she was not inferior to them. The first serious blow she dealt was a venomous death. She kicked it just like a ball with her foot, and it flew into the house, breaking through the front doors. Tang Xing started to run away in fear. He realized that the elite assassins wouldn't be able to handle her. The warrior noticed this. The warrior noticed it and started to catch up with him, her sword blade out in front of her. He started begging her for mercy again. One of the elite assassins got in her way. He clasped the sword blade with his palms and prevented Tang Xing from killing him. He launched an attack on the warrior, and she jumped back. Then she dodged his blow with which he wanted to cut off her head. Poisonous Death lying on the floor of the house. She's been through a lot. She fears they will lose a lot of energy trying to capture this warrior alive. She slowly begins to get up from the stone floor. And with his side vision, he notices something. For a moment, she was simply numb. It's just not possible. That can't be true. In front of her lies her dead brother, Qin Yao. The dislodged sword from the warrior's hand spun in the air. She was nailed face down in the ground, and completely immobilized 4 people. Although before she was defeated, she killed a great many of the demon sect. Tang Xing rejoices. Now that bitch won't be so cocky anymore. He'll bring her to the demon sect and they won't mess with her much. He looked at Poison Death coming out of the house holding his brother's body in his arms. Tang Xing was just about to look for this guy. He tells the Poisonous Death that he would have taken care of this woman earlier if he hadn't gotten in the way. He instructs to take him away. He will make a Jiangshi out of him. Before he can finish what he wants, Tang Xing gets hit in the face with a fist. So strong it flies off to the side. The other demon sect warriors are puzzled. What Poison Death is doing now, they don't understand. She warns to avoid butterflies. Other sect warriors she tore to pieces with their own hands. Poison Death, holding his sibling's body in his arms, remains silent. She looks at the warrior calmly and asks her name. The warrior answers. Her name is Tun Li. She thanked Tun Li for taking care of her brother. Now she was free and could leave. Tong Li looks at Qing's dead body and doesn't say anything. Tang Xin is really pissed off. What is that rabid bitch doing? He orders the other elite assassins to kill the Poisonous Death. Her colleagues say they sympathize with her grief. But if she doesn't comply with the demands of the assignment, she's well aware of the consequences. She's had enough talking. She finally wants them to do it, and all the remaining elite assassins rush to their poisonous deaths. There was a flash, and all the warriors of the demon sect are now dead. Poison Death stands and breathes heavily. Tang Xin tells her to stay away. He can make it up to her. He agrees to any terms. After all, he was wrong. He didn't know it was her brother. He sees that none of this is working, so he turns to threats. If she kills him, the cult will never let her go. She grabs him by the throat. Everything he did to Qingji, she wants him to pay 100 times more. Tang Hing begs for mercy. His eyes burst open, and a dark purple fountain shoots out of them. A little while later, Poison Death found herself in a black prison. She should have been sentenced to death, but she was lucky to survive when she met a good man. She's been saving lives ever since, but that doesn't change the fact that she was once a terrible killer. Xylin interjects Qin Yao. Could it be that after what he found out, he still thinks she's a good person? Qin Yao was a little confused. She had never expected anything good. But if Qingze knew what she was doing now, you could have been happy. Qin Yao remains silent. Then he tells Xylin that he's sure of it. But doesn't Xylin think that such efforts will not have the proper effect? In the face of the forces of the two sects, her efforts are just a drop in the bucket. She is well aware that her help is not constant and cannot reach everyone. But it's the best thing she can do at the moment. Isn't it better to take a small step than to lie dormant in a deep depression? Moreover, if there is not even the slightest spark, how can you expect to change the situation? You can't. Qin Yao realizes that he was so obsessed with the result that he was standing still. His sister's wise words inspired him properly. A member of the rescue team said they found a survivor under the rubble of the west side. They are in desperate need of help. Qin Yao says he can help and is on his way. Then he stops for a moment. He turned around and thanked Xylin. Ta didn't immediately realize what he meant. They'll need a few more people to split up and go after them. But then, Xylin saw everything with her own eyes. They started pulling the wounded out from under the rubble. At last they are saved. His partner notices that Qin Yao is no longer the same. He seems to have become even more energetic. The night sky is calm. The moon shines brightly with its light. Qin Yao is taking a leak. He hears something rustling in the bushes behind him. He starts stalking the stranger, then stops by a tree. And his master says that Qin Yao's shadow shape-shifting skills are much better than before. Master notices that Qin Yao has grown a lot during this time. Qin Yao, he was very happy to see his teacher. Of course the teacher has come for him. He asks his student to return with him to the Sect of Immortals. Deep night. Master didn't expect so many things to happen in this time. But he reminds Qin Yao, being a secret agent means that for 9 chances to die, there is only 1 chance to stay alive. Does he really want to do this? Does he really want to stay in the demon sect? Qin Yao affirmatively says yes. He wants to stay in the demon sect and find a way to end the war between the two sects. Well, friends, I don't know about you, but I like this manhwa. The plot itself is quite interesting and intriguing. So if you liked the video, then subscribe to the channel and write a comment about what you liked. If new chapters of this title are released, I will definitely make a continuation. All the best. See you soon.